Hey, fuckers, we're back. Crazy, isn't it? I'll answer my own question. Yes, Joe, it is. It's crazy. This episode of the Joe Rogan Experience is brought to you by, oh, you're going with NatureBox. I was going to say Ting. NatureBox is fine. Let's start with them. It's fantastic, and I love it. NatureBox is an option that you can get delivered to your home, to your office. Snacks that are far healthier than anything you're ever going to find in a vending machine. And you can get them adjusted to whatever your dietary requirements are. Like me, I'm essentially gluten-free. Occasionally, I fuck off and eat a hot dog or something like that. But for the most part, I don't fuck around with bread. So I get gluten-free options. They send me things like blueberry almonds, which are great. These Big Island Hawaiian pineapples are also fantastic. You can get things that are very low in sugar. They have no artificial flavorings, no hydrogenated, nasty, fucking weird oils and shit your body doesn't like to digest, like zero trans fats, zero high fructose corn syrup, nothing artificial. Free shipping also anywhere in the U.S. NatureBox is a great option to avoiding the nonsense that you get inside vending machines if you're hungry and you're at work. Healthy snacks, barbecue kettle kernels, everything bagel sticks, South Pacific plantain chips, another one of my personal favorites. I get them delivered every week, and they're usually gone within a day or two because I'm kind of a fucking pig. There's pistachio clusters, also these cocoa almonds. Oh, they got a lot of good options. And if you're into very specific dietary requirements like low sugar, they can accommodate all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of different options, and I'm a big fan. It's all very delicious, too. And a lot of it is, completely guilt-free. And if you go to NatureBox, go to naturebox.com/Rogan. That's naturebox.com/Rogan. You can get 50% off of your first box. And I guarantee you, once you do it, you're going to love it, and you're going to want to do it all the time. It's a way better alternative than most of the stuff that you're going to get if you go searching for snacks, even at a grocery store. I mean, you're going to have to really pick and choose to find healthy snacks that have no artificial flavors, no artificial colors, no nonsense like trans fats and high fructose corn syrup. That shit is really bad for you. If you want to find out how bad, go watch a documentary called King Corn. Find out how it all happened and find out what that stuff actually does to your body. NatureBox is a way to move around all that shit and snack guilt-free. You need calories, you need food, you need snacks. Go to naturebox.com/Rogan again and get 50% off your first box of yummy NatureBox foods. We're also brought to you by Ting. And what Ting is a no bullshit alternative to the cell phone coverage that most of us get. Most of us get cell phone coverage from the big companies, and you got to deal with a lot of stupid shit like contracts. Ting provides you with the same service that you would get if you were on Sprint. They use the Sprint backbone, and they rent time on it, and then they sell you that time with the Sprint rules. They sell it to you with no early termination fees, no contract as far as like canceling. You can cancel anytime you want. And they sell the best Android phones available. All of the coolest, groovy Android phones like the HTC One or the Samsung Galaxy. Now it's S5. The new one is pretty fucking slick. And the new one actually has it's got a fingerprint sensor, a heart rate monitor, and it's waterproof. Good googly moogly. Where does it end? The waterproof is sweet, though. I love that option. I have the Galaxy Note 3, and I fucking love it. It's giant, and it's really cool if you want to go online with it. When I used to go online with my iPhone, it was kind of like just, it was okay to do, better than not being able to go check out something online. But oftentimes when I'm on the road, I don't even use my laptop. I'll just use my Galaxy Note 3 the entire time. These Android phones have not just caught up to iPhones. In my opinion, they've passed them in a lot of ways. Features, options, not just the big screen, but the Note 3, the one that I use, has a stylus. You can write notes on it. And then those notes, I use Evernote, and it actually sends those notes to my home computer so I can look at my notes on my laptop. It's pretty fucking slick. Ting also has it set up so that you don't pay for a specific amount of minutes every month. You just pay for what you use. And I think that's the model that all cell phone companies are going to use eventually. Because a lot of times you're only using a certain amount of cell phone minutes, but you're getting fucking robbed because you're paying for much more. And if you get over that minutes or go over those minutes, then you get hit up with a big fee. You get hit up with extra charges because you use too much service. It's fucking stupid. With Ting, you use what you pay for. And I personally believe that that is going to be the model that they all use in the future. I think when companies like Ting come along, ethical companies that do things correctly, and they're cool about it. They do cool shit. Like on their 2-year anniversary, they slashed all their prices. And especially helpful for people who are heavy users. People who are heavy users and heavy internet users. They made a big impact on people's bills. In fact, 98% of people would save money with Ting. It's because they do mobile differently. Go to rogan.ting.com and save $25 off of your first device. That's rogan.ting.com. We're also brought to you by Onnit.com. That's Onnit, a human optimization website. And at Onnit, we sell shit that makes your body and your brain and your mind work better. We sell things like strength and conditioning equipment, like steel clubs and maces and ab wheels. We have fitness DVDs like the Extreme Kettlebell Cardio Workout DVDs by Keith Weber, which are just excellent workout DVDs. You want a DVD that just kicks your dick right into the dirt with a 35-pound kettlebell. I know that sounds crazy. You're like, Joe, you don't know me. I'm a manly man. Trust me, bitch. A 35-pound kettlebell will fuck you up if you do the right exercises for 40 minutes. It will get you to the point where you're going to have a goddamn heart attack. We also have really cool kettlebells, the primal bells and the zombie bells, kettlebells that were designed by an artist to not just be functional, but also look badass. The primal bells are the Great Ape series. We have gorillas, orangutans, chimps, and howler monkeys that range from 18 pounds all the way up to 72 pounds. If you're gonna start any of these, an exercise program with any of these, whether it's the zombie kettlebells or just regular kettlebells or the gorilla ones, please start slowly. Learn technique first. Learn the correct movements for whatever they are, whatever exercises you want to do. Start slowly and build a base. Don't just start with heavy weight and try to be a fucking meathead and hurt yourself. Learn, if you can, from someone who actually knows how to do it. If you have someone around you that can teach you, whether it's a trainer or what have you, go to them and get the form down and then build from there. If you don't have anyone anywhere near you, you can learn from a lot of online DVDs or online videos on YouTube or what have you. We have a bunch of different ones also available on Onnit, some ones that we recently made that show some of my and Aubrey's favorite exercises. We also sell all sorts of supplements and foods, whether it's the Warrior protein bars that are made out of buffalo and cranberry with no preservatives, 14 grams of protein per serving and only 140 calories with only 2 grams of fat as well. Super healthy for you. Really a guilt-free, healthy protein snack. Protein bars like the Hemp Force protein bar and Hemp Force protein powder, stuff that's made with the finest hemp protein, which is very easily digestible, super good for your body, very healthy stuff, and very low sugar, 1 gram of naturally occurring sugar per serving. It's sweetened with stevia, which is a natural plant extract that is very good for your body and doesn't fuck with your blood sugar levels. Super good for you. Go to Onnit.com. That's Onnit. Check it out. You could spend hours there just checking out all the different information, articles, videos, and see the finest of supplements. We literally only carry the best shit that we can find because we are not available in retail stores, because we don't have outlets that we have to take care of and hire employees and pay for rent in places. We can afford to sell things that are a much higher quality at a very, very reasonable price. So go to Onnit.com, that's Onnit, use the code word Rogan and save 10% off any and all supplements. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go live with a freaky podcast that's going to get down to some very, very interesting subjects. Young Jamie, cue the music.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Da, da, da. Dylan and Liam Resnekov. Am I saying it
That's
correctly?
right, 100%.
Liam is a guy from the underground, from mixedmartialarts.com. We've been online friends. That's how you say it? Online correspondence.
Correspondence will do.
Yeah, well, there's a brotherhood on the underground. That's it's one of the most interesting mixed martial arts websites in the world. I think it's the best one as far as access to information. And you're the guy who put up the Helio Gracie Chronicles too, right?
I can't comment on that because at the time I was a BTT guy and now I'm a Helio Gracie guy. So.
We're gonna have to move these things. How you gonna set these up so they could see we could see your faces better? Yeah, scoot over a little bit that way. That way it's not in Liam's face. So Liam put. Did you get in trouble for that? Did you get in trouble for that?
There was a guy with a similar name to me who put them up, I think.
Oh, okay, cool, whatever. It totally wasn't you. Oh yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Anyway, recently you put up an Attention Joe Rogan thread, which those things go up every now and then on the underground.
Yeah.
It's usually like you suck, your mother's a whore, or something like that.
I didn't want to enable anybody by doing that, but I thought, we're coming through America and, we're coming to LA, so he's got a cool
Talk
story.
right into this sucker.
Oh, sorry.
Just bringing it right up to you.
I didn't want to enable anybody, so, they're going to come out of the woodworks, the weirdos now, but
They come out anywhere. There's no way you can stop them.
they're sitting at the table with you now.
Yeah, it's the internet. So you contacted me, and I'd seen you online. I know that you run a gym in Sydney.
Yes.
And what's the name of your gym?
VT1 Academy in Sydney.
And VT1 is MMA. You teach Muay Thai there.
jiu-jitsu.
You guys have pretty much all mixed martial arts.
Yeah, it's kind of like a white-collar academy with some UFC fighters, that sort of thing.
So it's a good place for regular folks to train.
Yeah. We started in a scout hall, and we've it just keeps moving forward, and we've ended up with a big academy by mistake.
Well, that's the best way to do everything.
Yeah.
Just follow what you love, and it all happens
Absolutely.
by mistake. And so you put this thread up about you and your brother Dylan being in town. Your brother Dylan being a former championship kickboxer, former professional motorcycle racer. And just the beginning of the thread was so crazy because you were a motorcycle racer who stopped doing motorcycle racing because you had too many concussions. So what do you go into? You go into fucking Thai boxing. What is... And then you became a champion.
That's right, yeah. Sound like a ladyboy today.
Yeah, what's going on with your voice?
Screaming Richie in the UFC.
We had one of our
Last
boys
Wednesday.
last week in Quebec, and we always lose our voices, so that's why he's lost his voice now. So he sounds like
all right.
Oh, your
Lars
one of your students was
Yeah,
fighting
yeah.
in the UFC?
He was an
prelims.
ultimate fighter.
How did he do?
He won. He
What's
was the
his
only
name?
Aussie to win in the prelim thing. It was
What's his name?
Richard Walsh, Filthy Rich.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And
He
he's
could-
one of your students. Awesome.
Yeah, he was on the Fight Pass, so not a lot of people saw it. But he's, I think he's going to be the face. Well, I was going to say you should look up. There's an article about him online if you type in the face of MMA in Australia.
Kyle Noak, right? He's the big guy, right? Is he
Kyle's
the
there,
most
yeah.
famous? And
Yeah.
Hector Lombard, a lot of folks don't know, trained in Australia when he got out of Cuba.
That's
He
right,
did
yeah.
a lot of his fighting initially
Yeah,
in Australia before he fought for Bellator and then for the UFC.
Well, he's not really Australian as such, but yeah, look, he's
Hector?
an amazing fighter.
Hector loves Australia.
Oh,
Yeah, he
he's an
does,
amazing
yeah.
fighter, of course. But I don't think we're talking about when we were in Canada, like how MMA's gone down in Australia and it's shot up in Canada.
It's gone down in Australia?
It's been it's had a lot of trouble since the first UFC show. I don't know if it's I don't know. It's like my theory on it was basically that we just kind of need someone coming up that makes it. Like a lot of the guys we're fighting now, like Jamie and Tahuna and Anthony Perosh and them, they're already quite established before they hit the UFC. So I think we need kind of like a GSP sort of character, an
Right.
everyman sort of guy.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, you need someone who is like a championship level fighter.
Well, look, Jamie is amazing. It's not that. It's just that, like, Dylan sitting over here weighs about 63 kilos. He did before. Now he's about
Not
100.
anymore, yeah.
But there's no one for him to really look up and go, man, I can be that guy, because a lot of the guys are heavyweights in Australia. There's no real light guys.
Right.
So I kind of think that's affecting the scene a little bit. Maybe it's a theory.
It's an interesting theory. I think if you had a champion, that would immediately
Absolutely.
get everybody excited behind it.
Well, Jamie Tahuna's possibly, a potential. He's amazing.
Yeah. Tahuna's tough guy. There's a few. Kyle Noak is also a tough guy. There's who else is fighting out Australia? You got Hunt, who's out of New Zealand.
Hunt, yeah.
Hunt's awesome.
But it's hard for kind of like a middle class Australian kid or a rugby player, which are often private schoolboys, to kind of look at someone like Mark Hunt, who's just amazing fighter. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's not that guy's led the way in the way I'm going to do it. No disrespect, he's an amazing fighter. You know what I mean?
I think
right?
I think
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you need someone who's like a wholesome Australian regular guy who the folks can relate to.
Like Mark Hunt.
Like, a guy with a fucking tattoo on his neck.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I mean? Though.
Yeah, no, I totally do. I didn't know that Australian MMA has started to decline, though. I wasn't aware of that.
There's not a lot of opportunity out there at the moment, unfortunately. One of our girls is fighting in the house, the one coming up, and she was on hold for a year at a time because there was just nothing going on. There's just a couple of local promotions, but most of the guys move overseas. I was thinking of something else, but overseas like Carl and stay there, because they have to.
Brian Ebersol went to Australia as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he was
fought
there for a while.
Over there for quite a long time, right?
He's in Thailand now, living in Thailand.
Yeah, he's having a bunch of issues, like physical issues.
I don't know. He's a tough guy.
A very tough guy, very smart guy too, very crafty fighter. He's had a bunch of back things. There's a few things going wrong, kept him out of action for a while. So anyway, how the fuck does a guy who is having problems with concussions, what was your rationalization to not just go into Muay Thai, but to become a Muay Thai world champion? That's fucking bananas. That seems like worst path you could take if you've had head problems.
Yeah, look, we grew up doing martial arts, both Liam and I. Dad had karate schools in South Africa, where we were born, and opened big karate schools in Australia. So it was in our blood. Like, we already were doing martial arts, uncles, boxers, etc. But my dad also raced motorbikes and did barefoot water skiing, and my uncle.
Barefoot water skiing.
So that was my first proper sport with my dad and my uncle.
How the fuck do you barefoot water ski?
Do you want to tell him what they used to do to me?
Actually, funny. It's if you look at his nose, he tells everyone at broken kickboxing. That was barefoot skiing.
Yeah, they used to. Dad and my uncle used to chuck us on the back of the boat in Sydney, just at a small lake called Brooklyn, and used to be like, "No, you'll be fine. Just chuck us on the surfboard, crank it up, and then
put your feet in."
Yeah, put the hand up. Stick your feet in, and I was like 8.
And they would just drag you behind this motorboat?
You got to understand, like, South Africans are what we call like white belt in nothing. They've never walked barefooted before, but they've got an idea of how to do it.
They saw a few videos.
Well, there's no YouTube.
So this wasn't something that they were like adept in. They just gave it a shot.
They did it behind a smaller boat when they were in South Africa. Look, we used to ski and they didn't know anything about slaloming, so they'd get snow skis and you'd go on both and then kick one off, and then you'd have to go fetch it.
Yeah, normally the one ski you kick it off would actually hit you. There's no logic.
You kick it off? What do you mean?
So basically, like when you slalom ski.
Slalom.
Sorry, both a bit sick at the moment. You come up out of the water out of it. But our dad and uncle didn't know how to do that. So they'd just put you on 2 skis and you'd kick one off and then go find it later. It's just that's every Saturday morning.
The Resnekovs have a bit of a reputation of
being idiots.
Being idiots, and they're a little bit different.
South Africa's kind of a crazy place, huh?
It's madness. Absolute madness.
Well, where we're from, Cape Town's not that mad. Yeah. It's more Johannesburg.
Johannesburg's crazy.
It is nuts.
Cape Town is not that crazy?
Well, you just went.
Cape Town's not too bad. I meant Johannesburg. We were driving back from a night out, and we had to call armed response to come actually follow us back to our house because we thought someone was following us.
You'd call response. That's the police?
No, these are like ex-Congo fighters that hang around the neighborhood, which are private security guards with massive guns.
And cars.
And cars.
So you just call them up, look, I'm walking home, someone's looking at me,
Yeah.
you call the number, and the car comes and follows you home.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're not from Johannesburg.
So I was
that's where he was
I
from.
was in Johannesburg, and I was staying at a place called Boksburg. And I told my other friends they want a nicer place in Johannesburg. I was there for a wedding, and I was staying in Boksburg, and my friends were like, "Are you out of your mind?" You know, we had guys out the front with guns, like securing the complex, and everyone's got dogs. And I mean, I was on the phone to my friend, and across the road there was a shootout. It's basically like a. Seen Judge Dredd, the new one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's filmed there.
Yeah, that's
of
filmed
course,
there.
yeah.
That thing. It's
Dread's
mad there. You don't stop at red lights.
You don't stop at red lights.
But if you look at Charlize Theron, they've got beautiful girls there. So that makes up for it in a way.
Really? So hot
Doesn't
chicks
make up for it
and
at all.
South African.
bullets flying all
He's
over
married,
the place.
yeah. Cape
Yeah.
Town's
Wow.
different though. You know,
Cape Town's
Town's
where we're from. It's a bit more like
that's beautiful.
Sydney-ish.
So Cape Town's safe, fairly.
I had a guy try to get into my car when I was there, and I just drove on the other side of the road and
Well,
just
you-
disappeared.
I mean, one of the dangers is Dylan came home and he's saying, you know, Cape Town's safe. And I thought,
Yeah.
man, you know, it's not, it's safer, but I wouldn't be relaxing like it's,
Right.
you know, Sydney. Sydney's very safe, you know, comparatively.
Yeah, they did this thing on some television show where they were talking about South Africa and all the carjackings. And so they had all these different cars that they had wired up to prevent carjackings with
Flamethrowers.
flames on the
yeah,
side.
yeah, they're mad.
Like they have these bars on the side of the car that blow flames on anyone standing next to the car.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Anything goes there,
my,
really. You
my
know.
dad says, you know, if we go to South Africa, he's driving because, you know, he will, we don't, if people are lined up across the road, me and Dylan or Dylan and I will stop. He says, no, you can't, in Johannesburg, different to Cape Town, but he's like, you know, they'll stop you and then carjack you.
The day I arrived there, I remember seeing on YouTube, it was only it was in November last year, and I remember seeing a car pull up, just put guns straight in the window, and they dragged, like, it was all over TV, dragged, you know, like 4 or 5 kids out of the car, just threw them to the curb and just drove off. They haven't got really, they don't really care too much for life.
You got to understand, it's like Brazil. People go, why would you live there? You got a lot of potential to make money there, you know, and you got a comfortable lifestyle. And
Yeah.
we're not from there, but that's our friends who are from Johannesburg. We say, why the hell would you stay there? Well, they've been there for generations,
Yeah.
and you can't bring the money out. That's
Right.
another.
It's
there's a lot of
$1
issues,
You
you know?
can't bring the money out.
It's $1 Australian to 11 Rand. So when I go there, I shout everyone burgers. It's
geez,
cheap
man.
for us.
What does that even mean? Shout everyone burgers?
Oh,
What?
shouts like
shouters in like pay for everyone.
pay for everyone.
Oh.
It's funny while I'm sitting here, I'm noticing he's talking about South Africa and his accent's becoming South African
Is it?
as we're talking about it. I
Well,
mean,
how old were you guys when you left South Africa?
1 year old.
Well,
I
that's
was
ridiculous. How the
3,
fuck
but-
can you keep a South African?
We went to
you couldn't even
schools.
talk. You were a baby.
well, it's where from, actually, funny enough. And we're talking about accents. Nobody, this whole trip, has recognized our accents as Australian.
Yeah.
Because Australians sound like kind of weak Canadians crossed with New Zealanders, you know, like, because we watch TV and we listen to podcasts and stuff. So, you know, you have on your show Jim Jeffries, is it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you listen to him, you think he's like Paul Hogan's son, you know?
Right.
Because when you come here to be
I think
recognized.
he plays it up a little
Oh,
bit.
he does. He's
by the
from
way.
St. Ives, which is where we're from.
Yeah, I've talked to him off podcasts. Not quite as Australian.
Well,
You know
he's,
what I'm
he's
saying?
from where we're from, the same suburb. But look, he's very funny. I mean,
Yes,
it's hilarious.
hilarious. Very, very funny. Is he most famous comic out of Australia?
I don't think he's. I mean, within the people that we know, he's not that well known. But I mean, he's every now and again someone will come up and say, "Hey, check this clip out," you know, and he's brilliant, obviously, you know. But
Yeah, he was telling me that a long time ago. I wanted to know if that had changed, that he was having a hard time in Australia, that he was famous in America, he was doing well in America, but not so well in Australia, which I thought was odd.
Australians are weird. Like if you're an American, you come to Australia, your accent will make you funnier instantly. You know, like
Right.
think about our accent. Like if I say "ass," I mean, in America, it's not tough, it's not funny, it's not.
Well, there's certain comedians, I don't want to name the names, but there's certain comedians that get a little bit of extra credit because they have an English accent. Like, we'll accept someone from another country and we'll pretend that they're way better than they really are. And then you watch their comedy, like American comics, like, that guy's dog shit. Like, what the fuck is
What
everybody
about
going
the
on
Irish
about?
accent? Irish that adds charm points instantly.
Yeah.
A little bit. Scottish accent as
Scottish.
well. Yeah, we like other accents. I don't know what the fuck that's about. Girls love it too, man. The girls love Australian accents, right? Don't
Yeah.
they?
Well,
Guys
we pull it off, you know.
Well,
but-
he says g'day, and every time we have
Not
never
in
said g'day
Australia.
in Australia.
God,
Nobody in Australia says g'day.
Never.
Never.
But you meet a girl over here, you throw it around,
Hey,
like
g'day.
let her know
G'day,
what's
can
up.
we get some, some
G'day.
beer?
We always
Are
say
you from Australia? Oh my God.
He
How
always-
long is that flight?
Yeah.
that's the first question we get
I'm
every time from an
And the
American.
kangaroos.
And
A lot of
kangaroos. We
kangaroos.
eat
Yeah.
kangaroos. I
Is
don't know
that the
why, yeah.
furthest you can get on a plane? What's the furthest flight you can make in one shot? Is it Australia?
Sydney to LA.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
No,
pretty
is
far.
England further? Or
No, England's only 10 hours from here.
I just know it's a
Sydney
pain in
is
the ass.
16.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
pain in the
far.
ass. We haven't slept more than about 4 hours for the last 3 weeks, probably. Like, we're just not adjusting well.
Yeah, I've done it twice, and it's a fucking brutal flight. It's an awesome place, though.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've only been to Sydney. This is the only place I've been in Australia. I fucking love it, man.
Yeah,
Sydney's
Sydney's
awesome.
great.
If I was going to live outside of America, Sydney's on the short list.
It's the place.
Yeah,
man.
this where we are now. I mean, not saying where it is, but where we are now is very similar to suburban Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
We were driving around and we're like, oh, this looks like Ryde.
But you're on the wrong side of the road.
We're on the wrong side of the escalator, the wrong side of the road,
Yeah.
we're on the wrong side of everything.
You know that awkward moment when you're just like walking out of one of those doors, in Vegas. We were in Vegas yesterday, and you walk into someone and you normally shift to the left or right. We go left because we drive on the left.
Right.
But they shift right, so we're both going the same way. And I'm like, buddy, move. I'm like, move out the way, and he's like, you move.
Yeah.
You keep saying, look at that car, no one's driving it. Like, we're driving it, and I'm looking at the
Yeah.
car, and there's no one in the front seat.
Because it's the wrong side.
Oh, no,
The
there was
steering wheel's
a
the
kid.
wrong side.
Just sitting there. We're like, what the hell?
Why does the kid drive?
That baby's driving.
Yeah, it's pretty scary, man.
Well,
is
we were just
scary,
in
though.
Orlando, and our driver was telling us that oftentimes people come from Europe or from England or where have you, and they in their countries they drive on the other side of the road. So they come to Disney World, get drunk, and get on the wrong side of the highway.
Hey. Well, he doesn't let me drive. He doesn't trust me. He's the
No.
mechanical guy. I'm the directions and
We've
shout
got a
at you guy.
Mustang, so we're pretty happy about that.
Oh, you're very excited.
Yeah.
Did you guys know why the left side and the right side? Do you know what the origin of that shit is?
I heard an explanation, but I don't.
I'll tell you what it is. The left side, the reason why they did it in England and a lot of those countries is because it was from way back in the day when people would ride horses, because you wanted to have your sword arm on the right-hand side
Yeah.
if someone was
Right.
coming the other way, so you could fucking hack at them.
So where did America go wrong?
Yeah,
don't
where
know.
were the where
What is
Oh.
everyone left-handed here?
They decided no more war. Fuck it.
guns?
Maybe it was
shot.
maybe Henry Ford was a fucking lefty. I don't know. I don't know what started it off.
Well, it's fun. I mean, our whole trip, we basically spend the whole time I mean, you guys in America looking around and you drive and you're bored and this and interstate, this and that. For us, it's like we're watching movies through our eyes. Like we just drove past Sherman Oaks and I was watching No Retreat, No Surrender last week and we were just like, that's fucking Sherman Oaks. I took photos.
What's
and
No Surrender?
No Retreat, No Surrender. You never saw that?
So that's a karate movie or
I
something?
remember back in the day, the guy's name, it was Van Damme's first. Remember that?
Oh, okay.
He went to
Sherman
Prey-
Oaks Karate.
Prey-
And we're like, Sherman Oaks, we're going to take photos.
Yeah.
That's
cool,
hilarious. You gotta
man.
take photos of Sherman Oaks. That's
no idea.
hilarious. You silly suburb.
I didn't think we got
No
Starbucks.
retreat. There it is. No retreat.
Oh, I
no
love
surrender.
that. We watched it
Great
last
movie.
week, man. It's
Yeah.
the greatest.
Have you ever seen the Jean-Claude Van Damme reality show?
Oh, where he does a lot of coke and then whatever. His lawyer might
Yeah.
not be happy about that, but yeah.
Well, whatever. He does a lot of coke.
I still like
his
him,
lawyer
though.
can go fuck himself. I like the guy too, but his reality show is goddamn brilliant.
It is?
He's such he's so crazy.
Oh, he is.
He's
He's nuts.
so off the fucking chain crazy that you watch his reality show and you just like he keeps talking about this fight that he's gonna have.
Yeah, with the tie that's like
Yeah.
90 years old.
Well, it doesn't matter. He's not having a fight. I mean, it's just you know it, I know it, he knows it, everyone knows it that's filming it. It's like this weird charade that he puts on where he pretends and he cries, where he starts talking about
saw that.
the fight. I'm going to have to fight to show the children I'm going to knock him out. But it's like the way he talks is like a character in a
He's
movie.
such a romantic, though, like he's
But a fake romantic, romantic like a
yeah.
romantic in a bad movie. It's like he's become a guy who speaks in bad dialogue. He's like become that guy.
Well, I mean, I wanted to ask you about that. He still speaks with that accent. He's been living here forever. So is Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Does he live here?
Oh, I mean, he's been
Because
traveling. I'm just saying, I don't.
The show, it looks like he's in another country.
He
It's
was
hard
in
to
Dubai
tell.
in one of them. Remember, has a sparring match with some random chic dude and sidekicks him. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that episode.
He's But they were saying when we were up in Canada, someone was saying to us, GSP, for example, has kept his accent on a certain level because it's so recognizable.
No,
I didn't think that was true. Somebody was saying
no.
that
George
to me.
lives in Montreal. George speaks perfect French. I mean, it's not his accent. When I talk to George outside of the octagon, he speaks exactly like that. That's what he does. Yeah,
Well,
he's very authentic.
Well, just the reason I bring it up, I was just wondering if like Van Damme's handlers or George's handlers haven't kept him. You know what I mean? Like if he started talking like this.
George doesn't have those kind of handlers. George has trainers and jiu-jitsu coaches and mixed martial arts training. He doesn't have those kind of handlers like
But
someone
Van
who
Damme?
maybe. But George was just in that Captain America movie, but
Yeah.
he really didn't talk all that much. It was mostly him just kicking ass. It's a fun movie. Did you see Captain America?
Yeah.
It's fucking
We watched
pretty
it,
dope. There's a problem with the movie, an obvious problem.
What's that?
Captain America knows the Hulk, and he doesn't call him.
Right when he's in trouble.
Fucking world's about to end, and he knows this invincible green dude. Why wouldn't he just go, hey, look, there's some shit going down. I'm tired of getting my ass kicked. I'll be right back. I'm gonna make a call. And the Hulk comes flying in and just fucking smashes everything. The movie's over in 10 minutes. All those dudes, like, if Captain America's duking it out with those dudes and they're going blow for blow, the Hulk finishes everything in 5 seconds. The fucking movie is over. No plot to take over the world. It's over. Everybody rest assured.
They had
Sleep tight.
the Ed Norton one on TV the other day. We were
I
watching
did
it
too,
in
yeah.
Vegas.
With Hickson?
Yeah, with Hickson.
Yeah.
And the
man.
first 45 minutes of the movie are him avoiding wrecking stuff. He doesn't even do anything for
Yeah.
the first 45.
The Mark, what's his name? Mark Ruffalo? Is that his name?
Rafael, yeah.
Yeah, that
He's
guy's
cool. I
he's
like that
awesome.
guy.
He's the best banner ever. Here's another piece of American trivia. In the comic books, his name is Bruce Banner. But when they made the television show, they changed it to David Banner because they think Bruce is a gay name. That's how silly we are. We're fucking
That's why
silly.
we love America.
We're silly as shit, man. So back to you, man. How the fuck in the round? Get right back to that question. How the fuck do you go from having too many concussions in motorcycle racing? How many concussions did you have, by the way?
Motorbikes had about 4 big accidents on the track.
So 4 out cold, KO'd, flatlined.
Probably about 3 of them.
Hospital-ish.
Yeah.
3 hospitalizations from head
Yeah,
injuries.
that was just from the motorbikes.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
But you didn't wreck your body,
No, it was actually all right. It was all right.
so it's just head injuries.
Yeah. A couple of, to be honest, I've actually had no major injuries from barefoot water skiing, fighting, racing bikes.
That's incredible.
Started bull riding recently. That didn't go
That
too well.
is the worst thing he ever
Shut the
did.
fuck up.
Yeah.
You
But
started
some good
bull
pictures,
riding?
man. So
You're the manliest man alive.
Dude,
Look at you. You only do savage shit.
but
We
I
look like
popped my
little hobbits. That's the funny thing. Like,
Yeah. No, I love bull riding. It's good fun. I only started getting into it
You
a
love
little bit.
bull riding.
Well, I popped my shoulder, landed upside down.
Oh,
so
dude, you gotta stop doing
first
that.
time.
We had a guy on Fear Factor that had been a professional bull rider, and he had just had scars all over his
Yeah,
shoulder. It
I'm
had been
getting that.
reconstructed like 8 times, and he said that anything goes wrong, plop, it just pops out
Yeah.
on him. His
Yeah.
shoulder's just loose as fuck.
Well, the thing is, the hospital called me. My friends called me. Oh, yeah, Dylan's dislocated his shoulder. I'm like, oh, here we go.
I've been in the hospital
I'm
on
not
average
even
like
gonna
10
call
times
Mum
a
or
year
Dad.
for 12
10
years
times
now.
a year.
Nah,
Just always little things.
it's always stupid things, But they called me, and I was just like, tell Dylan I'm fucking happy. He dislocated his shoulder. Could have been.
You got to
his
talk
neck.
right into this.
Oh,
bitch.
sorry,
Sorry.
man.
It just has
Sorry.
a big difference in the volume. if you
It's a
don't
bit
talk.
intimidating looking at it. I think I'd be used to it. Sorry.
Why are you looking at me when you said that?
That's a black dick joke for those at home that are listening, not watching.
But he just
Black
complimented
microphone.
me, so I'm
I
sweet
get
with
it.
that.
But the first thing I
Dick's
did
black.
was I was like,
He's
fuck
your brother.
I was like basically just like, fuck you. This is because we were in the academy together. I said, fuck you. You dislocated your shoulder. You're lucky it wasn't your neck. Hung up the phone. I'm not even going to deal with it because I'm just like,
Why are
I'm
you
glad
bull
did it.
riding?
Look, I retired from fighting about a year and a half ago, and been living in Thailand on and off for a long time. And it's a very hard thing for people that are 8, 9, 10 years in their career. I mean, look at John Wayne Parr, who's actually a good friend of mine.
Yeah, I love that dude.
And
Great guy.
man, you couldn't say one bad thing about him.
He's
Really
a sweetheart.
top bloke.
Great
Absolute top
fighter.
bloke.
Great guy.
Really good guy.
really good guy.
You got to get him on the show.
Oh, I
actually,
love
apparently.
to.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, I love
He's
him.
so funny.
Yeah, I met him for the first time about a year ago when he came to the UFC. I got him tickets for the fights.
He's
and
well,
love
the
that
thing
guy. Big fan.
I wanted to ask you a question about that being a celebrity of sorts. I mean, you are a celebrity, I guess. Absolutely. Like, what am I talking about? Aussies don't like to kind of like recognize celebrity to some degree, like they feel embarrassed, you know. But one thing I was going to say is, looking on the internet, I want to know how you deal with this, and I'm taking it off topic again, sorry. But, you know, like some guy comes up to me the other day and he's like, oh, Wayne Parr, yeah, I hear he's all fake and he's a dick and this and that. Now, he's absolutely not fake. Absolutely. Like, he got up at 9 a.m. hungover to treat one of our students to pads. Like, he's the genuinely nicest dude I've ever met, right?
I agree.
But it just seems like you can't be a celebrity without some dick just shutting you down, making shit up about you.
Well, eventually you realize that the only type of people that would do that would attack you for no reason, are idiots. So if you're going to live your life worrying about idiots or worrying about bitter, negative people, some people are actually smart. Some people will attack you and they're smart and they write these scathing, negative things about you that are not true, not based on reality. They make these judgments of you. They decide how you think and they flavor you in their posts, whether it's a message board post or a blog post, but they're just negative people. And there's a real problem with being able to post on the internet, whether it's posting on a message forum or whether it's making a blog. And that problem is you're not interacting. You're just putting out a thing, which is fine. You know, there's good to that because, you know, you could read things that people write, whether it's a blog post or a message board forum post like on the underground. That could be very informative and fascinating. But also you can decide to, like, you know, Liam is obsessed with himself. His ideas are bullshit. His ideas are, and you can just go on and on and on with all this ad hominems and all these fallacies about a person, and the person's not there to respond. And so if that person reads it, like, no, I'm not. What the fuck, asshole? But this is not a conversation, and those kind of interactions would never take place if someone was in front of you. If they were in front of John Wayne Parr, like, John Wayne Parr is fake, he's bullshit, and John Wayne Parr, what are you talking about, mate?
Yeah.
Come right here. Like, fake, come right here. Like,
they just wouldn't say it to him.
Well, they wouldn't say it to him, and even if they did, he'd be like, okay, well, how am I fake? Explain how I'm fake. And he'd be like, well, I've never done that. Like, what are you saying? He's a nice guy. He'd probably just be like, that's your problem, mate. Just you know, he's
wouldn't even react.
And he's a self-actualized, you know, he's got personal sovereignty. He doesn't need a fucking idiot's opinion of him to define him. But people will try to define you, and they'll try to define you in a bunch of ways. But most of the time, the reason why they try to define you is because they're failures. Whether they're personal failures, whether they're professional failures, they're failures at life in some way, shape, or form. If they don't have a real like you didn't steal from them, you didn't do anything to them personally, if they don't have a real beef with you, they just decide to start attacking you, almost always it's because they're losers.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with a pool of people that are almost all failures. What they see in you, whether it's John Wayne Parr, look, John Wayne Parr is a multiple-time world champion.
Man,
I mean, he's
amazing.
Bona fide bad motherfucker. I mean, he's a guy that, look at him, there he is right there. And George St. Pierre brought him in to help him with his kickboxing. I mean, he's as legit as they get. I mean, look at that fucking stack of belts. Well, a guy who sees a guy like that, and you know, men measure themselves against other men. They don't like it.
Imagine his eBay store.
I have had fucking conversation with someone like, hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing? And then fucking that one person will tell someone else some 20-minute story about what a douche I was because I didn't say, hey, what's up the right way. You know, people just decide that they're going to define you because defining you in a negative way somehow or another makes them feel less bad about how they compare themselves to you. When they compare themselves to a guy like John Wayne Parr, they come up short. I mean, he's a fucking savage. He's a rare human being. So you compare yourself to him, you don't like it. Hey, that guy's a fucking fake. He's a this, he's a that. People love to just chop people down. It's that crabs in a bucket mentality. You know what crabs in a bucket is? No. Put a bunch of crabs in a bucket. They can never get out of that bucket. Because as they're trying to get out of the bucket, the other crabs pull on them and drag them down.
Yeah, right.
Well, he actually, I mean, you can talk about it instead of me asking you, but I mean, for a fighter, it must be terrible because you can get knocked out and you look silly when you're knocked out. I mean, not silly, but I mean, it's not a nice moment, right?
There's a video of a guy coming up to Rashad Evans with a photograph of when Lyoto Machida knocked him out. You know that famous photo?
Yeah, of course.
Because he got really knocked out and he was unconscious. The guy was asking Rashad to sign it with a big smile on his face.
What a dick.
Well, you stopped going on the internet after a while, didn't you?
Yeah, I had him just writing for me, man. It's easy.
I was his publicist.
Yeah, basically, I just stick off the internet.
And the other problem is this anonymity. The ability to post something as, you know, Jickfuck69, you make some fake name up, and you could just say the meanest shit about somebody, you know, instead of like a photo of you and here's my background, this is where I went to school, this is what I've accomplished in my life, and this is what I think about Dylan. You know, instead of saying that, you know, you just post some nonsense, some fake account or fake name rather. Anonymity with sensitive information and insults, it just doesn't work that way. When you, the thing about insulting someone, if you define someone, insult someone, most of the time there's like an evaluation process during that insulting. Like the guy, like if someone's a fucking 300-pound guy who just shit his pants and he's calling you a loser, it's really difficult to take him seriously. It's like, oh, I'm a loser. But you know, if someone's an anonymous poster online, all that evaluation kind of goes away. It's like, do you take that person's opinion seriously?
Yeah.
You know,
Must be terrible for fighters.
It is. Look at the Underground. How many fucking pros post on the Underground? When's the last time you saw John Jones posting on the Underground? When's the last time you saw... A lot of them lurk. They go in, they creep around, they look. But when they post, just so many fucking assholes. I mean, Tito Ortiz is probably like one of the last guys that stopped posting, but even he gave up after a while. Yeah, I mean, how many times can you hear people, anonymous 14-year-olds, just shit all over you? You know? But I treat it like snake venom, and I feel like you get bit by a snake and you could really get fucked up. But if you get bit by a little bit of snake venom every day, you get immune to it.
Yeah. It's a good way of thinking.
That's how I look at it personally. But it's just a side effect of this stage of interaction, because there's not going to be any anonymity. There's not going to be an anonymity within the next decade or 2 decades or whatever it's going to be. Enjoy your privacy and your freedom now, because it's not going to exist 20 years, 30 years from now. It's just not.
Yeah. A good thing, right?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, for a guy like me, it's normal because I'm already not anonymous. I'm already out there. But I think everyone's going to be out there like that. The people are going to pretty much know as much about you as is humanly possible.
Yeah, well, that's coming on the show. It's funny. We talked a lot about this, and one of the projects we're doing is with that, with the Growing Down one, is with a psychologist, and we were talking about it and being on the show and stuff. And you know, we've got a business that we teach kids. You know, we teach adults, and we teach a lot of sensitive people in like a white collar area, right? And the psychologist friend of mine, Jonathan Back, he's on the other show, and he took him a while to open up a little bit because he was worried. You know, people get a lot of information about you on these things, you know, and they can judge you, they can use it against you, this and that, like, especially if you're someone who likes to talk like we do, or I suppose you do as well, and just give opinions and think and shout things out. It seems like it might be a little bit dangerous. What did you write there? It looks like a dick. What did you write? We're just worrying about the effect of what you say can have in a public scene, whereas if you're at a bar, you can say whatever you want, you know?
Right. Well, yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of people that judge your thoughts and your opinions and how you express yourself. But at the end of the day, it forces you to evaluate your thoughts and your opinions and how you express yourself. And you have to own your words, and you have to mean what you say and say what you mean. And once you do that, you're like, I'm comfortable with it. There's not a single thing I've ever said on this podcast that I feel like, man, I really fucked up when I said that, because now people have a different opinion of me. Right. My opinions that I say on the podcast are well thought out, and I'm lucky that I started it, you know, later in my life. I didn't do a podcast when I was 20, when I was a fucking idiot, you know. I think back on that, like, God damn it. If there's podcasts from when I was 20, oh my God, you could hold it against me to the end of time, because we all learn. You have to be, if you're going to be out there and you're going to take chances, you're going to fuck up. You know, and you're going to fuck up socially, intellectually, along the ways. The only way a person learns is by trial and error. Trial and error and absorbing information from other sources. Those are the way. You learn on your own by your own failures and your attempts at, you know, accomplishing things that you're not really qualified to do, and then you learn from other people's information and from other people's failures. That's what we do.
Absolutely.
But when you fail online, man, you know, I mean, how many fucking knockout animated GIFs have you seen? I mean, for the longest time, remember that guy, Fred Edish?
Yeah.
That poor fucking guy was tortured. Fred Edish is a guy who fought in UFC 1, and he fought Johnny Rhodes, and Johnny Rhodes beat him down, and there was a guy who started a website called the Fred Edish fetal fighting style. Like, because he curled up in the fetal position while Johnny Rhodes was beating him down. Yeah. And so they were, you know, torturing this fucking guy.
And he's fought again since then, right?
Yes.
He had one
fought
fight.
MMA. Well, he learned jiu-jitsu. He became a real MMA fighter. And I think he fought more than once. But, you know, he's a legitimate martial artist. He just, like a lot of us back then, before the UFC came along, he didn't understand what real fighting was about. He thought that his karate was enough. When I was doing Taekwondo, if the UFC had been around when I had only done Taekwondo, I probably would have thought that Taekwondo was enough, and somebody would have taken me down and strangled me. When I first went into kickboxing, it was a huge realization to me that I thought that Taekwondo was enough, and then I was getting my face punched in. I was like, oh my God, like there's so many holes in this style. And then I started Muay Thai, and I'm like, oh God damn it, kicking the legs. And then it was Jiu-Jitsu. I was like, oh, well, fucking Christ. I've spent all this time doing this one style that I thought was sufficient. But that's what the UFC was all about.
Yeah.
It was exposing the world to the effectiveness of real martial arts.
I'm laughing because I ended up doing jiu-jitsu extensively, and he did Muay Thai, but he ended up doing jiu-jitsu because every time we get in an argument over MIRC, jiu-jitsu would win.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you take them down,
Fucking
strangle them.
hell.
Oh, yeah.
My mum
yeah.
wasn't very happy about it.
Well, most people have no idea how helpless they are on the ground until it happens. You have all these ideas, and Dana White and I had this conversation the other day. He used to joke around about it, but he used to always think, if a guy tries to take me down, I'm fucking hit him with an uppercut and do this and do that.
Dana says that.
Yeah, in the old days.
Oh, right.
That's
right,
how he used to think. Not now.
I was
But
gonna-
no. He's like, I really thought that before we went. We owned the UFC before I started.
Right.
Learning about mixed martial arts. It's like we laugh about it because everyone has these preconceived notions, and you don't realize how helpless you are until you actually do it.
Well, he's got a bouncer to hit you now, so I'm not a
Yes.
bodyguard to hit you. So.
Well, nobody's hitting anyway. He's a sweetheart. Dana's one of the nicest guys
He
ever.
does seem
But
that way, yeah.
the point is that most people have no idea how helpless they really are until they actually roll.
Yeah, he pursued jiu-jitsu quite seriously for a while as a
Yeah.
result.
How frustrating it is. I'm like, Liam, get the hell off the computer. And he
Mum,
just
he's
takes me
using
down and
martial
chokes me
arts on
out.
me.
It's too easy, right? It's fucking frustrating.
I took it up quick, man.
You got mad.
He just told
It
me
gets
as
you
my mum.
mad.
You can't just like knee your brother in the face. It's not,
No.
You try.
I tried.
Well,
I've tried once.
Well, at least you're a martial artist, though. The really crazy thing is when you get someone who has no martial arts experience whatsoever, and you go, okay, lie on top of me and try to keep me from strangling you. Ready, set, go, and they'll try to like hold you in place, and the next thing you
hold
know,
their breath, and
it takes like fucking 10 seconds, and all of a sudden they're essentially a dead man.
Yeah.
It's that's the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu, and that's what jiu-jitsu showed the world.
Yeah.
But these poor guys like Fred Edish and these poor guys that had to be the reason why we learned. We had to see these guys learn. We had to see, these guys get taken down. Art Jimerson with his boxing and one glove on. We had to see these guys getting taken down. Art Jimerson wants a rematch with Hoist Gracie.
Jesus.
I could talk to him recently about it.
He's a bit kind of
A little bit.
Yeah.
Taking a few of those. But
In Thailand, it's funny. It's getting a bit better now, but every time we'd go, there were a couple places like Supro that had a cage, and the Thais would be like, "Yeah, I'm going to fight MMA soon. I've got a big heart, and clinch. Their clinch is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But when you hit the ground, they don't have the ability to relax. They just don't. They don't really get it yet.
yeah.
Which is a shame, but
Well, it's a very different thing, especially Muay Thai or any kind of striking, going from striking to grappling. Like I've seen friends that are good boxers and they get very good endurance, like hitting the pads. They can hit the bag for 5-6 rounds, no problem. They roll for a minute and they're exhausted.
Yeah.
They just don't understand. It's a totally different style of moving, conserving your energy. There's just but those guys, man, we owe such a huge debt of gratitude to the original UFC fighters because they showed us with their own humiliation in their losses, and even guys who are like badasses, like Orlando Veet. You remember that guy
I know.
that Muay Thai guy?
He's gonna be out of this
fucking
soon.
animal, man.
the commentators, he'll be out of this shortly.
Fuck,
He's
he
unconscious.
is. Yeah, Remco Pardue elbowed him into another universe.
Yeah, right.
That was a horrific knockout, too, because he was trapped under this giant judo guy who's just smashing him with elbows in his head, and his head is stuck there. He's just bong, bong. This huge judo guy just crushing him. And then he gets crushed by Marco Huas and Hoist Gracie and all these other people. We learned, we really learned what real fighting is. So many of us had all these like crazy ideas of what fighting was.
Yeah. I think I was like 12 and I was in England.
Oh, in England, yeah.
Yeah, I went to England just on holiday with family, and Liam said, "Listen, man, Dylan, you got to get me this this crazy cage fighting. It's illegal in Australia. Like you couldn't actually buy it in Australia." Well, no, it was UFC 1.
No,
I
it was
think.
3. It was 3.
And I
Definitely.
bought
Well,
it back.
2 was
and-
the first one that came out on video. What year was this?
We watched it
jeez.
in about 95, 5, I think, but it was definitely 3 because I was expecting Hoist to smash everybody, and then he pulled out. So it was the first one we ever watched.
Yeah, it was too.
Because in Australia, we just didn't have access. It was just, we used to trade VHS tapes overseas, you know. That was the only way we could do it.
Right.
Was that one of your businesses for a while?
Yeah, well, in high school, I couldn't get hold of it. So I had this UFC 3 tape, and then I legally sent it overseas to trade it with somebody. So I had 2 tapes, and then we had 3 tapes, and then I'd trade 3, and I'd have 3 tapes, 6 tapes, etc. But I remember we watched it, and we waited till everybody went downstairs because we thought someone was going to die. So we were huddled around the thing. We pushed play, and of course nobody died.
There's no Google, nothing back then.
Well, they could have though, man, because the medical test they did on those guys was fucking nothing, man. You know, there was nothing going on. They just threw people in there and hoped they survived.
And Joe-san looks like he probably has been messing around on a corner a little bit.
Well, you know, Joe-san's in jail now.
Yeah, he murdered someone now as well.
No, well, he murdered someone in jail, but
yeah.
he went to jail because he was a part of a gang rape.
Eesh.
Yeah, they did I don't know what happened. He got arrested for something else, and they matched his DNA sample with an unsolved gang rape.
I'm laughing at the giant cross. Anytime you see someone that extreme, you know they're going the other way shortly. You know?
Joe-san used to hang around the Comedy Store, and before he ever got arrested, and he was so weird, man. He called everybody sir, called you sir and mister, and he would hug everybody. He was really, really weird, man. He was really weird because he was like 5'2" and just jacked. Just and he was hanging around, and everybody was like, "This guy's fucking crazy." It was like a weird dog that he was like, you were hoping that didn't bite you, and everybody's like, "Yeah, nice dog. Okay, let's get out of here." You know,
in Australia, you know, like when we have weird dudes, you don't generally worry about getting stabbed or shot. In America, it's a real concern.
Yeah,
with drugs and stuff, we just don't have you don't have that imminent sense of danger that you guys. Obviously, there's safe areas, but you just don't hear about it in Australia as much.
So Australia, there's more fist fights? Is that what it is?
There's more fist fights.
Yeah.
There's bottlings.
England as well. Bottlings are just,
man,
it's fucking scary shit.
Now. You know,
they've got
after
those
that kid
passed the
died,
law.
Coward punches?
It's called
dog punching, sucker punching, king hitting.
Yeah,
Sucker
so king
punching.
hit, if you hit someone while you're intoxicated or even, I don't know the exact law, it just got passed. And you hit them, it's like a massive jail
So
sentence.
some kid got hit and died by this big juice head who said he was an MMA fighter.
Oh yeah,
And,
that was bad.
So he got sucker punched?
He got, well, they were 2 or 3 kids arguing with him. They were kind of like, you know, well-dressed sort of kids, and the guy hit one of them, and then
He fell and hit his head?
Yeah, he hit his head and died, and they want to change it to say it's not called a sucker punch or a king hit, it's called a coward punch.
Yeah.
So Australia kind of rallies behind these odd things like that. Now they've also made it that you can't go out, you can't come into a bar after a certain time.
So they got
and
locked
it's
down
just-
now after, I
It's
think,
just doesn't make
3.
any sense.
We didn't go out much, but 3 o'clock you can't, whatever club you're in, you got to stay there. Like you can't come and go.
Huh, why is that?
They've got up in
They've got
Queensland.
no
it's-
common sense. It's just
They
basically they
reckon-
keep the dickheads down the street. So when you go out with your wife,
Yeah.
they're waiting on the corner, ejected from a club. So it's worse.
Well, you know what, man? The idea of having these places where people consume the worst drug ever for social behavior, and it's all over the world. Alcohol's the worst drug ever for social behavior. Lowers inhibitions, makes you feel like a bad motherfucker when you're not, gives you terrible, shitty judgment. I mean, it's like the worst drug as far as like getting involved in fights. If we had pot clubs, if we had places where all you could do was smoke pot, you go to a place and just eat brownies and smoke pot, there would be no fucking fights.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to fight on pot. They just don't. Even if you're thinking about fighting, you're like, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here.
That's
Fuck
why
this.
Canadians are so nice.
Yeah,
God,
that's
those
one of the
guys
reasons.
Smoke like crazy.
That is nice, period, because they're not trying to take over the world. You know, that's one of the big fucking problems with America is that America's got this long, deep history of trying to take over the world or defend against other people trying to take over the world. So it's just a fucking group of psychopaths living right underneath these nice folks to the north.
Yeah. Well,
You
man,
know?
we just went to Quebec and Montreal. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Quebec is wicked.
The fighters
Montreal
are
is
nice. Everyone's
fantastic. Oh, the Canadians are the nicest people in the world.
nice.
You know,
Absolutely.
that's the other short list place that I would move to. Vancouver. You ever been to Vancouver?
We went there for one night.
God damn, that place is awesome.
Is it?
Amazing. So another city that I really thought about moving there in 2004 after Bush won re-election. I really thought about moving. I was because like everybody's so fucking crazy. He won again. Like how could he win? Like how the fuck did that guy win after all this nonsense that everybody knows about him?
Yeah.
This crazy fake war that they dragged us into. It's just not real war under fake pretenses. But I was like, this country's going to turn into some banana fucking republic police state. Like we got to get out of here.
For us living in Australia, I mean, it's a very much like Canada. It's very relaxed, and it's almost a little bit too fortunate. And I had a friend move here because he just said it's really easy in Australia to be middle class, but it's very difficult to make a lot of money and be upper class. There's just America just has that kind of
the ability to
something different.
move up.
There's a bit of romance here,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't see it. It's for us we see it, you know?
No, I can imagine. Yeah, I could see that the caste system and the class system that exists in England exists in a
Well,
lot of other
England's
places in
bad.
the world. Yeah,
England's really bad.
is it?
Hey, we went to Manchester and it was a bunch
it was
of
rough.
kids walking around with babies because they give them a house if you have a kid. So there's 16-year-old girls everywhere with baby pushing pram.
Because of socialized
It's the
society,
weirdest place.
socialization.
It's pretty funny to watch. Just young chicks everywhere with kids and red hair.
That's weird. I didn't know that.
It's that was in
Manchester's
Manchester.
nice. Like our family's there as well.
Socialist ideas. I mean, there's good things to it, like healthcare. I really think that's one of the big problems that we have in America. And
Australia's good. Like
the way they're fixing that in America is like fucking up even more. Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act has got so many people are angry about it. But I think that the principle behind public health care should be that that's like one of the first things that a government takes care of. First things that a society, a civilization takes care of. I mean, what should everybody have? Well, everybody should have access to health care. It should be like one of the first things. It shouldn't be that everyone has to go buy it, though, that they force you to go buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this weird sort of, we have the money to start wars and finance these overseas campaigns, but we don't have enough money to take care of the health of the citizens based on the tax revenue that we generate. And I think that's just crazy.
Well, you guys have to keep crap jobs just to keep your health care, right? Sometimes
Many people do. Yeah, many people take and keep jobs just specifically for their health care.
Takes advantage of the healthcare system in Australia, that's for sure.
Yeah, man.
I bet you
Our
do.
premiums in the whole of Australia have gone up because of me.
Because
For
you're
sure.
fucking bull riding.
For
So
sure.
back to the thing. So you have all these fucking concussions. 3 big ones. 3 out cold from motorcycle riding.
Yeah.
And you decided to go into Muay Thai.
Yeah, well, I meant,
Tell them what you wanted to do in between then and why you got into Muay Thai.
so basically I decided to join Israeli army. We've got family over there as well, and the school I went to, some of them decided to go over there. I was dating an Israeli girl as well. I thought I'd go to the Israeli army, and I was 18. I thought I'd go join, it'd be a good experience, because my dad was the paratrooper dog unit in South Africa. So I was like, hell yeah, why not? This is the brains over here. This is the brawn.
Sort of. But the thing is this girl's mom is convincing him to go to the Israeli army, romance and this. And Israel's very romantic,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, she's moved to Australia so her daughter doesn't have to go to the fucking army.
Yeah, true.
She's convinced him.
I
didn't tell
thought
our
this chick's
parents.
going to marry me for sure if I go to the army. It's like,
So that's
3
why
years.
So how do you join the Israeli army when you're living in Australia and you're an Australian citizen
can do
born
it.
in South Africa?
it's voluntary. It's voluntary.
So they'll take anybody.
No, if you're from a Jewish background, it's voluntary and you can join the Israeli army.
So you're from a Jewish background. That's all you
That's
needed.
correct.
That's all you need.
That's all you needed. Wow.
And then you
Kinda
get free
stupid.
university, but
Oh, really?
it's after 3 years of pretty, active duty.
So you go over there. You're 18. You join the Israeli army.
No, I didn't quite make it there, so I told my parents, and my dad
You
was.
didn't tell your parents. That's the whole point
No,
of
I
the
did.
story.
I told them in New Zealand about 3 days before I was going.
Why did you tell them?
Because I'm terrified of my dad.
He's like the nicest guy ever too, which is funny. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, and they're like, no, you're not going. Get me a big guilt trip. I cancelled it. I had a plane ticket. I'm like, well, screw this. Liam already, he's a couple of years older than me. It's like, screw this. I'm going to go to Thailand then on the same ticket. My parents are like, you're going to Thailand? We're paying for him to go with you.
I went as a chaperone.
All expenses paid. First night we arrived there, went straight to 7-Eleven, got a massive bottle of Samsung. It's Thai whiskey, and just got absolutely drunk off my head on Koh San Road in Bangkok, which is like a bad area.
Well, it's not a bad. It's
like
a tourist
touristy,
area,
trashy
you know? It's
tourist
like
area.
It's
like the Vegas Strip?
Yeah, but friendlier. It's a bunch of kind
Friendlier
of
than the Vegas Strip.
Well, not if. Well, look, it's basically backpackers central. Everybody's very friendly because they're usually straight out of school and they're free and they're wearing their fisherman pants and drinking and smoking cigarettes. They can't
Right.
do, you know?
Going there just for
But
vacation.
It's gross. It's
yeah,
gross. It's in the middle of
absolutely
Bangkok.
seedy.
Okay.
It's lovely.
So, but you're not alone. There's probably a bunch of other people drunk like that too.
Well,
right?
they got him drunk.
Yeah, I got. The ironic thing is, I got drunk on the corner with a homeless Israeli guy.
Yeah. There's a lot
That
of
was the funniest part.
There's a
of
lot
it.
of them in.
A lot of Israelis.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, and then ever since then, I was like, man, I love this fighting business. Like, I was already boxing since I was young. Liam was doing jiu-jitsu. Obviously, I looked up to him more.
Well, I was doing Muay Thai and thought I was good at it, and then he got 10 times better than me.
Yeah, I was like, screw this, man. I'm just going to live here, and just kind of kept going back and loved living there.
What was it that like forced you to like make that decision? Like what triggered in your mind to like go, okay, now I'm a Muay Thai fighter?
Yeah, look, I mean, at school, I didn't so much struggle at school, but I have ADD and ADD,
I think
learning
everybody
difficulties.
does. It's even remotely interesting.
Yeah, and just struggled. I thought, like, I want to be something good, and Muay Thai wasn't established in Australia yet. Like, there was no.
Wayne Parr was still very good, but
he
it's
was
about
living
New
in
South
Thailand.
Wales. And
There's a video on the thread on the Underground. I mean, on message board of him fighting. Pull it up so we could put it on while we're talking.
Of me fighting?
Yeah. There's a video of you fighting on my message board.
It's just my highlight.
That is World Championship title fight.
That's the one he got. I wanted to ask him about that, actually. That was the second time in his whole career he got knocked out.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask him what it's like to actually watch yourself.
Yeah, no, I've watched this a few times.
Who are you fighting there?
That's Sonny Venanthi from New Zealand, a really good fighter. This was actually, I still get told to this day, some of people's favourite fights because we kept dropping each other in it. And this is there's my coach, Nick Stone. I just didn't have I had a good training camp for it. I just, I was kind of.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. Look,
I had too many coaches, whereas I should have had one that overlooked everything. And
Are you getting contradictory information? Is that what it is?
we didn't really, the problem was with Muay Thai in Australia, I mean, he's got a coach, Nick Stone, who's a brilliant coach, but it's, we had a bit of boxing, a little bit of nutrition, a bit of this, a bit of that, and it wasn't how we coach our students. It was just basically do a little bit of boxing, a little bit of running, wish for the best. It wasn't...
You weren't totally organized, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I was going back and forth between Thailand. So, the Thai's like, no, you kick like this. And you come back to Australia and oh, fuck this guy.
What was the difference between the way the Thais told you to kick and the Australians told you to kick?
Look, the Thais are more dominant in clinch, elbows, knees, and kicks. Especially clinch, which is what I love the most about Muay Thai. It's my favourite thing. Whereas Australia, you generally find, Sonny Venanthi, I'm just watching the video now, is very well known for his hands. So in my whole career, I only took about 12 to 13 hits to my head in all my fights. Really? So I wasn't someone, if you watch, I don't get hit much.
12 to 13 hits ever to your head? How's that possible? How
Not
many fights
really.
did you have?
34?
Yeah.
34 fights and only 12 to 13 hits to the head?
I like to stay on the
when you
outside
say
range.
that, you mean
hard hits.
Hard hits.
You
like
get
glancing
dinged.
elbows.
Not
and stuff.
jabs and
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
But this gets really exciting in round
Do you
two.
think that Muay Thai fighters take much less damage than boxers, per se?
It depends. I'm reading a lot of the articles in the MMA forums and stuff, and there's guys coming out saying the damage is getting done in the training. It's not getting done in the cage.
Right.
For me, my training in Thailand, we don't even really spar. We do a lot of clinch, bit of place sparring, a lot of pad work, a lot of ground work.
Well, they have it down more. You know what my opinion is about MMA sparring? The real problem is that MMA in America and MMA as a sport in general is still very young. It's a very young sport.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of people that got into MMA that really did not know how to properly train for striking.
Absolutely.
Properly train as far as what kind of damage you do long term if you spar really fucking hard all the time.
Yeah.
But boxers always have had a history of, gym wars and stuff. With Thais.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, when Americans went to Thailand, they saw the Thais training and they copied it and brought it back. And this has happened in Australia a lot. It's one of those fights you can't stop watching when you start. That's I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, second sick.
But the problem is that they watch the Thais do it, and this is like anything. When you go overseas, you do yoga, you do Muay Thai, whatever art you're doing, cooking, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. And they're watching the Thais do it, and the Thais go pads, bag work, clinch, and that's it. So the Americans would come back and Australians come back and copy that, but they forget the Thais don't spar for one reason. They fight every weekend.
Right.
So from a young
that's the other
kid,
thing.
so they don't spar. Why would they spar? They
Right.
fight.
Right.
So I mean, I think like that was lacking, and clinch is really lacking in Western countries. But Thais don't. If you watch them fight, have you been to Thailand, Joe?
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
when you
that's
watch
a
them
sick
fight
place.
around the fourth round, if one guy's won, they stop fighting in the fifth round so that they can fight next
Yeah.
week.
They know who's won
Wow.
already.
You know, the
They're
first
that
round
good,
they don't
both
go
of them.
hard. They don't throw
Wow.
elbows for the first round normally.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that sort of stuff in
And
Thai
they
boxing.
they go slow in the first round. Is that because they also want to place bets?
There's
is a
bets,
big part of it.
adrenaline.
That
What's
schnoz.
the other reason?
Adrenaline
Well, because the adrenaline will take a bit to kick in, like to it's like the
to
problem.
calm down and find your rhythm.
Look, the problem with Thai boxing is like he's been how many times have you been?
26.
26 times. I've been about 16, 17. It was on about our 10th trip that a Thai actually explained the rules to us.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Saxon.
Yeah, Saxon, right? And it's like we've
Saxon
been here.
Janjira?
No, I wish, but no, that's that. He's an American. now.
Saxon is the name of the gym.
Saxon's the guy. He beat Sumkor. Sumkor is like the best kicker in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
Look, he was just look. A lot
How
of
did he
the-
become the best kicker in Thailand?
Oh,
That's-
Sumkor. He was
that's
kind of just
crazy.
known for a while, but this guy explained the rules to us, and we're thinking, Jesus, like nobody.
Ooh, beautiful knockdown.
And by the way, that was not illegal for people that actually lived in Thailand and kept saying it was illegal.
Why was it illegal?
As
Why
long
would
as
they say
you
it's
throw the
illegal?
kick before they're down.
You can
You
kick
know,
them
like
away,
sometimes they land on the ropes. You can still hit them as long as they don't hit like the floor.
Oh,
So
I
for all
see.
those critics out there.
But what was
Oh,
the point of
those
this? It was
guys.
Oh, don't worry,
Thai
he
boxing.
knocks me down.
With Thai boxing, one of the misunderstandings people don't understand is like, you know, the Thais, they won't fight in the fifth round. They won't use, elbows usually in the first couple so they don't cut each other so they can fight next week.
And then the punch in the
So
back
that
of the
was
head.
illegal.
That
So I had, a
was-
Well,
brain,
you were
I had a
down.
brain hemorrhage from this fight.
Really?
Yeah,
Holy
so it was one
shit.
shot to the back of the head. And
So he
there's
hit you
another
from the
one
back of the
coming
head
now.
while you're down. Yeah, you were down. Totally.
Tim Muck style.
So now I got a little bit dirty. It happens again.
Wow.
So I had a brain hemorrhage. I remember going to the hospital for a while.
And this was the fight that convinced you to stop fighting.
No, I had one or two fights after this, and
Yeah, no big deal. Just a brain hemorrhage.
yeah, one or two
How,
fights
did they have
after.
to drain your brain?
No.
No, it was only a small bleed, but it was enough to.
Yeah, you look like you're certainly wobbly here.
Oh, I keep going.
Damn.
The thing about
Don't
the
stop.
fighters, man, it didn't have to be this way. Like
Yeah,
if you
and
didn't
then-
get hit on the back of the head, it
and then
wouldn't
again.
have been dangerous. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's. I hate saying like when people hear us say that it's the sport of Muay Thai is generally quite
pretty safe.
compared to boxing
Yeah.
or rugby. Rugby's a horrible sport.
Yeah.
I mean, a lovely sport, but I mean,
But how is it safe when you're dealing with head kicks and shins and knees?
I mean,
and-
how many headshots have you seen this?
oh,
fight?
you dropped him with a head kick. This is a crazy fight,
Yeah,
man.
Back and forth.
Holy shit. To get dropped like that and get punched in the head while you're down, then get punched in the head again and dropped, and then drop him with a head kick.
And then I think
This
he
is
punched you back of the head again, but it was only when I kind of went down. Also, I think this fight I changed to southpaw. That's kind of one of my later fights where I changed to southpaw.
It's wild. So the difference in the way the Thais fight being that they fight like almost every weekend.
Yeah.
And
They
that
fight
they
every week.
train
Since they're, like,
very
10 years
differently.
old.
But even their sparring, they don't go at it full blast. Like the Dutch, who don't fight as much as the
yeah.
Thais, they throw hard kicks to the legs and to the bodies, but they throw lighter punches to the head.
Jesus, we were in Holland about a year ago training at I won't say which gym, but man, those dudes were
Good
punching
gym.
each other's heads through the wall. Like,
Really?
Oh man, that's especially when
What
you
gym?
had I was Majuro.
Yeah,
Very
Majiro
good gym.
Gym's
Great
crazy.
gym.
Really
great
good gym.
That's a great gym.
By the way, if you ever go there, have you been there?
No. Well, there used to be a Majiro Gym in Encino. There's a guy, Shuki, from Majiro Gym in Holland, came to America. He was here for a while. He's an Israeli as well. He went back to Israel, though.
Well, anyway, go to the locker room and just be prepared to keep your eyes facing straight
Yeah.
because there's group showers and everybody's naked, guys and girls, talking and chatting after training. We weren't ready for that.
Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you be ready for that?
Well, when you're
Because we
sitting
hadn't been to
down and
Holland
someone's
yet.
changing next to you.
No, the
And
guys
everyone?
and girls shower together,
Yeah.
walk around.
Sounds great. Beautiful. Back to the Garden of Eden. Let's do
Yeah.
this.
We weren't ready for it.
Wow.
Nah, it's cool.
So,
Jeez, they kill each other in training, though.
how did you decide, though, like, that you were okay doing this? That was a beautiful head kick, man. How did you decide that you were okay doing this after, like, retiring from motorcycle racing because of concussions? I mean, you weren't worried about these concussions like this? That's some bullshit right there. That guy hit you. That should have been the end of the fight.
Yeah, I kept going. There's another one coming up. But look, I can't take it away from this guy to get off topic because Sonny is a top fighter.
Oh, he definitely is, but I
Big-
mean, he's
big
also
fan of his.
a dirty bitch.
I'm not going to lie. Dylan actually has a lot of respect for him. I
Yeah.
woke up for about 3 months after this fight dreaming about strangling him.
Oh, that was the first fight my mum
but he has,
watched as
apparently
well.
he's a lovely guy. Everyone tells me. I
Just gets
I
amped
was-
up.
Every morning I woke up dreaming. I was just like squeezing.
I like how
his neck.
you hit him when he was down too. Payback, bitch.
Yeah. That's how
That's
we roll.
a crazy fight, man. That's a crazy
But
fight.
this is the first time you really got hurt in your whole career. right?
Yeah. I
There's
got
only one
knocked
other
out
one.
in Jamaica on a big show, but I was so dehydrated. We're like, oh yeah, my coach says, oh, you're going to be 135 pounds. I'm like, oh yeah, 62 kilograms. I get there, and Steve McKinnon, who's one of my coaches as well, he's a heavyweight. I'm thinking, 135 pounds, it's probably around 61, 62, didn't think about it. I get there, I'm like, shit, man, I got to cut like,
So what'd you end up? 58 kilos.
I was like 58.7 or something. I had to get down. I don't even know what the weight was. I was like 64 kilograms.
58 is,
in Jamaica.
2.2.
Wow.
So
So
I had to cut a
what
lot
is
of
that
weight.
in pounds? How many kilos
it's
was you talking
2.2.
about? You're talking 8 kilos? Was it? You were
you'd
8
be,
kilos off?
Nah, I was about 5 or 6, 7
Six.
kilograms. Yeah.
So let's say 6. So 6 is 2.2 pounds
been
per.
120
So
pounds.
Jesus Christ.
And back then we didn't we didn't know many of the cutting methods. It was sit in the sauna
Right.
for 5 hours.
We were
Oh,
saying
fuck.
about this, and I'm sure it's the same for you with everything you do. Like we now the way we coach, how we didn't know back then, or how we wanted to be
Yeah.
coached, and we just didn't know. So,
Right.
So he'd just go jump in a sauna suit, and that's what we did. You just did it. You didn't
Yeah,
know
there
any
was a
better.
lot of really bad weight cutting in the UFC back in the day. I used to cut weight to fight in Taekwondo tournaments. I cut the day of. And I would,
Jesus.
get down to 140 pounds the day of the fight. Yeah,
Have you
that's
got
when I
hit
was
in the
like
head, you're
16, 17. Yeah, it was terrible for you. Very dangerous. Well, that was the thing about boxing while they changed it to weigh-ins the day before the
Same,
fight
yeah.
because they give the fighter a chance to rehydrate. The big issue was brain injuries to a dehydrated fighter are more substantial.
Yeah, of course.
They
Well,
found out that almost all the deaths in boxing came
Here we go.
outside of the heavyweight division. In the heavyweight division, there was no deaths.
Yeah.
That's one of the
Why?
things they attributed to.
This is not cool to watch. It's one of those fights to be the greatest fight ever if you weren't the guy's
Dude,
brother.
I made the best highlight of this was just me hitting him.
We don't have to watch you get
No,
knocked out.
it's cool. No, it's cool. It's cool. 'Cause you can keep going because I want to
Let's
ask
find the
him
highlight
a
clip.
question at the end. But yeah, man, there's a theory now. They're saying that, and I was saying to one of my guys because we just went to the UFC and he cut about 5 pounds, and everyone keeps saying you need to drop down a weight division, right? Yeah, this is not cool.
That's it.
That was not cool.
This is the end of the fight.
That was a back of the head shot
Yeah,
again.
that was another
Yeah.
back.
All right, we could kill it,
Oh,
Jamie.
no, you can watch it if you want.
That's all right. So and you fought 2 times more after that. How many MMA fights or excuse me Muay Thai fights did you have total?
I had a couple of we kept my record down because I was fighting in Thailand a lot. So if those guys, I've never been past round 2 in Thailand in 16, 17 fights ever.
Really?
So all up, we found a lot of tapes, and probably about 30, 34. Yeah,
But
it's
they
a lot of
started
fun.
getting dodgy towards the end.
Yeah, I started finding bigger ties, and like there's some good ones on YouTube of me fighting his tie. I think I dropped him like 15 times with
Dislocated his
elbows.
shoulder.
Yeah.
I just kept dropping. Those guys just kept getting back up. So I don't know. It didn't bother me fighting in Thailand. You got little kids, 8-year-olds that are fighting, and it makes you feel. In Australia when I fought, it's like you go backstage, you got to rev yourself up. You got all your friends there. It's the crowd, it's the music. Thailand, there's like 8, 9, 10, 15-year-olds all sitting in the back with their mummies, taping their hands. You watch them fight for
They
like,
tape their own hands. That's right. Yeah.
yeah, they fight for like 15 minutes. You're like, oh, this isn't so bad,
So
This is
it's a
pretty
more
normal.
relaxed environment, so you
Yeah.
feel like easier going into the fight.
Yeah,
You got the
absolutely.
music playing as well.
And I was normally in the main event, being like the Westerner. And I started finding some really good ties. It started becoming really
They
good
started
fun.
towards the end getting a little bit dodgy, like because Thais are very proud people, and they're very similar to Japanese like that. And they started kind of slipping in the bigger dudes and
Yeah.
slipping in the. There was the one fight actually,
that where I
the one
popped
that
his shoulder?
scared me, where he was actually winning and you threw him and he dislocated his shoulder, but it was a bit scary until then. So
I
it was
think
like,
he kicked him in the head. He was a big boy.
So when you say bigger dudes, you mean like the wrong weight class?
Like
they're
thick
outside of your
legs
weight
and
class?
like ringers. Like they start
Oh.
bringing like ringers after a while.
Were they bigger than you?
Thicker legs.
They're trying to
just thicker.
set you up?
They didn't really weigh you, do they?
No, we didn't really weigh in. Most of them were either my weight or heavier. Earlier on, they used to weigh me, but Yeah, later on they're just kind of about my size or bigger, which I was okay with. It was still good fun.
Wow. So you fought over there for many years, and were you there when the tsunami hit?
Yeah, so excuse me. Basically,
Scariest cough I've ever.
the story of this, I don't think I even written this online, but basically, we were in Koh Phangan, so we're actually the other side of Thailand. And my brother and I in Koh Phangan, and I was still staying there for quite a while, having some fights. And my brother's like, listen, man, I'm going back to Sydney, cool. So I borrow a bit of money. I'm like, yeah, sweet. Like I had so much in my bank. I was like 20. And he went and took it, and he entered the PIN card wrong. So he entered the PIN number wrong when he put the card in. And I was like, great. So it swallowed my card. I was like, oh, fucking great. So I'm stuck here in Koh Phangan, which is like the full moon party, like crazy party island. And I had to wait like 4 days to get a replacement card. In that time, my friend, I had 2 doctors that lived in Melbourne, Glenn and Tom, and I'd met them a few times in Thailand. I said, listen, you guys go to PP Island. You go to the other side of Thailand, where we wanted to spend New Year's and Christmas. And I said to him, oh, you guys go there and I'll meet you over there. I've got to wait for my replacement card. I was still there for a couple more weeks. A couple more months in Thailand. So they went over there and then the tsunami hit. So in a way, I kind of missed the tsunami because of my brother. So I'm like, okay, well,
Being a moron.
like, screw this. I'm going to go look for them. And we didn't know what actually happened because the media is often run, by governments, and we didn't really know what was going on. So we heard, there's a bit of a wave. And, basically we heard there's a bit of a wave. And, I thought, we'll try help out. I'll go look for my mate. So I got a friend to write in Thai saying I'm head of the Australian Search and Rescue. So I went over there with another South African friend who I'd met, who's now a very good friend of mine. And they're like, okay, cool. Well, you guys are in charge of picking up the bodies. We're like, yeah, this is just fucking great. And we got more involved, and there was 1,500 bodies on PP Island. We didn't carry all of them. There was just a couple of volunteers and stuff.
Wow.
And then after a couple of weeks, we're like, well, we tried to do a few other things. Those things they wanted us to start cleaning up because there's a lot of disease on the island.
Because of the bodies?
Because of the bodies. And then the animals started eating the bodies as well.
Oh, God.
So bodies would be washing up, all the time.
What kind of animals?
What actually happened during the tsunami was in PP Island, it's flat. It's got 2 hills on both sides. And the animals must have detected, there's a lot of articles on that on the internet, detected that the tsunami was coming in. And they actually all went into the hills. So there was like, dogs, cats, birds, whatever. There was a goat we found running around like loose. I don't know what the hell it was doing. They started in the bodies and then they got sick as well. It's only a small island. And that was, I was
Like
only...
how big across is it?
You can walk from one side to the other. It's not that big. But so, and then I was like, oh shit, I better keep looking for my friends. So we went through the bodies, went through the pictures in the morgue, went to the morgue. Meanwhile, these two monkeys, they're both doctors now actually, had gone across to PP Island. It's a bit of a trip, like ferry, bus,
Wait a
ferry.
minute. 2 monkeys?
No, my two friends that are
buddies.
doctors.
Okay. Right. You don't mean really monkeys.
No.
I was like, monkeys became doctors?
No. And basically
doing
they met
marshmallows.
some girls on the bus across and had just stayed in a hotel, and I don't know what the hell they were doing. So I'm looking for them in the tsunami, pick up bodies and do all types of crazy things we probably shouldn't have. And they were just on the mainland hanging out with these 2 girls. So I went all the way there to find them, and they were just chilling out. But obviously I suffered a lot of, not so much depression, but more so post-traumatic stress after. I was only 20, 21. And suffered a lot of post-traumatic stress and, we'd eat that much and...
Just from the bodies.
Well, PTSD wasn't really talked about as much at that stage.
I felt like I was a warrior. I was like, I better not talk about this. To be fair, my mum was like, don't even think about going over there. And I was like, yeah, hell no.
You're like, no, Mom, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it, yeah. I went straight over there. And we had some cool experience. Like every day I could write a book on the things that we did and what happened. And
Well, that's the idea, actually.
yeah. So
when you say post-traumatic stress, like specifically, like what was the feeling? Like what did you, what was the issue that you had from seeing all that horrific shit?
Look, for example, actually what happened when I came back, my parents split the day I got back from the tsunami. So they split and my brother and I were just in the house alone. So, I don't know, like, you know, would be watching, was it Bad Boys 2?
Is your favorite movie?
Yeah, I love Bad Boys 2, man. Love that movie.
Wow, you really did get hit in the head a lot.
It's cool, man. Yeah, Bad Boys 2, and, you know, we'd see the bodies in
I
it.
still don't get why you like that movie so much.
Sick, man. Will Smith.
So Bad Boys 2, what would happen? You
There was a scene with the morgues and stuff like that, and bodies, and yeah, like a little bit of a flashback, and yeah. I don't know, it was just kind of hard. It wasn't something I talked about. It wasn't something I was proud of. I was like, oh man, I put everyone out. You know, I probably shouldn't have done that. And yeah, a bit of guilt as well.
Well, you only told me some of the stories today.
Yeah, quite recently.
I haven't talked to him about it. That's one of the reasons I put the post up, because we're so busy in Sydney and everything's always moving. We never actually sat down and talked about it. All I know is he had some trouble, you know, and we see each other every day, you know, but just it's never just come up in conversation, you know. So today on the way here, we were talking, and on the plane and stuff, we're talking, and I'm like, I've never heard any of these stories.
Yeah, some cool stories.
You know
man.
what I mean?
wow.
Yeah, which is strange. It's strange, I guess, but that's
Look,
what it is.
you know, for a 20-year-old, I think it kind of, I grew up very quickly, and I went back to Thailand a lot since then. Yeah, it was a cool experience. Now, I've been working for the Koh Samui rescue team for about 3 years now. So I'm the only Westerner that does it.
Only idiot.
Yeah.
What is what rescue team? What is it?
So in Koh Samui, they've got private ambulances, and then they got volunteer. And there's the rescue team. So if like a boat flips, or there's a car crash, or a local sick, or someone dies, or there's a lot of bike accident stuff. You know, we go collect the bodies, or
A lot
we
of
go
dumb Westerners.
Yeah, we go like patch them up and take them to the hospital, and it's a bit of everything, you know. There's a fire, we're there, like we're kind of G.I. Joe kind of rescue man, but I'm the only Westerner. So that led to that later on, and I've had some pretty cool experiences for 3 years now, just working a couple of shifts a week with the Thai team. And, you know, one shift, probably the hardest shift I had was last February, when I actually decided I'm going to retire. And I called Liam, I said I'm going to retire. And I was like, if I'm going to retire, I don't have to train that much. So I spent a lot of time doing the rescue team, and over the full moon party on the island up from us, in one shift from 11 a.m. till the next day, 11 a.m., there was like 30 accidents we attended. Wow. Yeah, so it was pretty
And
hectic.
they don't get published, you know, as well. That's the other
Yeah,
thing.
we're not really allowed to talk about all of it. But most of it's, you know, Westerners, drunk Westerners just being stupid. And I mean, there's a girl, I think her sister is Nicole Fitzgerald, and her younger sister, Kate. And Nicole was on the back of a bike, and I don't know if it was a Western or Thai, got hit by a truck, and she died. And now I know she promotes safety for riding and transport in the Asian countries, because a lot of Australians are dying, falling off like balconies in Phuket and just stupid stuff.
Just being drunk and
It's a great
so-
place.
yeah, Thailand's amazing.
Like, make it sound worse. Like, this is the worst part of it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's an amazing place. But people just go there, and it's, you know, the Thais are lovely people. Beautiful people, very patriotic. Like, if
Yeah.
their king, if you don't talk badly about their king. If you go
They
to a
haven't
movies,
mentioned their king.
Well, you've been to the movies there, right?
Yeah.
What happens?
You have to stand up and
Stand up
there's
for the
a
king.
thing for the king.
For like 10 minutes, and one Westerner, one idiot, refused to stand up, and they just, of course,
Swarmed
what
him.
happened would happen. You know, like,
Yeah.
don't know what happened exactly. I just know he was taken away, basically.
they beat his ass.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind people, so I don't know if they beat his ass, but they would have fined him or arrested him, you know?
Yeah.
Wow, just for not standing up at the movie theater
Yeah.
for the king.
You don't...
You can't, I think you get
Well,
arrested
it's
for
their
talking
country,
bad.
man. It's their country. Fuck
Yeah.
everybody who goes to... You know, like, right now, you go there, and you go to these places, and the key with going overseas... And you've traveled quite a lot, of course. We've traveled, like, a lot. When you go to someone's country, you never go to the place where Westerners hang out. I don't want to see Aussies... I don't want to see Thais that deal with Aussies, because the Thais that deal with Aussies, they get that red-eyed look, and you know it's just a little bit like they become jaded.
Right.
So it's just like you've got to go to that country and respect it. You know,
Yeah.
And if you go to Thailand, and you must, it's an amazing place. Don't go to an area where Thais have to deal with Westerners,
Yeah.
because then you got to deal with the Thais that have to deal with the Westerners.
Yeah.
Well, Hawaii is a part of America, but that's the argument that you always hear about Hawaii is how they hate Americans. But like,
I didn't know that.
it's just because they're dealing with douchebags all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine the fucking idiots that you have to deal with that are always on vacation, coming from all parts of the world, and they're all drunk, and they're all, entitled because they're spending so much money to get over there. They act like you should give a fuck about them. You know, I've met people that are Hawaiians in Hawaii that are some of the nicest, kindest, coolest, sweetest people you could ever meet.
Yeah, I hear that.
But then you'll talk to people, oh, Hawaiians hate Americans. Like, maybe for a fucking good reason. You know, maybe they have to deal with dickheads.
Yeah.
Thais
are
hate
amazing.
hate Israelis.
Really?
Because and Israelis, have you been to? It's a lovely place.
Never been to Israel.
Imagine Copacabana without crime.
Really?
It's pretty much what
Beautiful,
it is.
man.
You know,
Tel Aviv.
beautiful place.
No crime.
No crime. I mean, everyone's got you got girls, 18-year-old girls, with machine guns on their back. You know, at McDonald's, off duty. You know, but
Wow.
that's an underrated traveling place. But everyone's so scared of the bombs and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
But,
Don't worry about it when you're there.
but anyway, the point is they hate Israelis in Thailand. So we'd go buy a motorbike, which anyone can have. Any girl, Aussie girl who gets off the plane can hire a motorbike. Never driven one before. And we go hire one, and they say, "Oh no, sorry, we can't lend you." And we say, "Oh no, we're Australian." They go, "Oh, okay, we thought you were Israeli." So what the reason is? Israelis are nice people. It's not that. It's just that the ones that go to Thailand are fresh out of the army, so they're crazy. You know, like they're just straight out of the army. They've seen all this bad stuff, and they go to Thailand and they just smoke weed and just go crazy.
Yeah.
They just go crazy, basically. Mushrooms and everything, disrespectful towards the Thais, alcohol, fights,
Loud.
whatever, you know, loud. Because they feel entitled after the army, but, you know, the Thais don't like them. But if
Right.
you go there, they're nice people. They're very
Australians
nice
aren't
people.
far off at the moment.
Australians are
The young traveling Australians.
The Russians aren't
Gang.
doing so good.
So now the Russians have, like, there's a lot of Russians in Koh Samui and the islands in the past 2 years, I've noticed, especially working for the rescue team. I'm attending more and more Russian. I may as well speak Russian. More and more Russian accidents. And because our last name is Latvian or Russian, really.
we thought it was Russian
Yeah.
until about a month ago we found it was Latvian. So
Yeah, we're going to change our haircuts and everything. And
sent me
basically,
a picture of a crew cut.
yeah, but now, you know, when I went to hotels, and I can speak Thai, so for me it's like I can get around it. They see my last name Resnekov, and they're like, no, we're full. I'm like, you out of your mind? There's like 10
300 rooms.
There's rooms open. I could see them. And then you speak to them, and they're cool.
Once they realize you're Australian.
Well, yeah, but if I spoke Thai, they kind of really take you in.
Oh, do you speak Thai?
It's a bit
little
rusty.
bit.
at the
He's
moment,
very.
but my-
He does. He's bloody shy. That's every time I say, Dylan, order for us and speak in Thai. No.
Yeah,
He speaks bloody
the West,
Thai, but never does in
my
front of
team
everyone.
didn't speak English at all. No one in my rescue team. So sometimes there's misinterpretations about, you know, I didn't interpret things properly. When they speak to me in Thai, they'll be like, go over there, and you know, like I'll drive to like the other side of the island if I was driving the ambulance, and some not so funny.
But
things.
the one thing about Thailand people don't know is that before the tsunami, you couldn't buy property there or businesses unless you were under a Thai name. So you'd marry a Thai woman or a Thai man,
right.
So which is great. I think that's a good thing. That Thailand should be owned by Thais, you know. But after the tsunami, they allowed
Foreign investment
Foreign
in there, yeah.
investment. So if you go to Koh Phi Phi, which is where the beach was filmed, that's where he did his rescue stuff. It's not recognizable anymore, you know. So anybody can buy a business and property there now. That wasn't like that before the
And
tsunami.
it changed a lot because of that?
I mean, before that, you've got people who have to go roundabout in circles to set up businesses and brothels and strip bars and stuff like that, you know. Now, just give them money. You can
Dude,
do
there's
whatever you
Russian
want.
strip clubs in the middle of
white
the main.
people.
Yeah, with Russian strippers in the middle of like clubbing areas.
Yeah.
Really?
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, look, you got to go. It's an amazing place. And the
But
people are
that's-
amazing.
yeah, that's small parts, you know, of Thailand. Like there's still a lot of untouched areas.
Especially up north is amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's going to change irrevocably because of this, though? Because of allowing Westerners to buy businesses there? Is that going to fuck everything up?
Look, I know a lot of
think it has
expats that
already.
live there. A lot of South African expats as well. It's a big expat community, and it's nice there. But like anywhere, like my brother said, you know, there's bad areas, like specific bad areas, and out of a whole island, it's only a small area. So now I don't really go back there anymore. My
When you
rescue
say
team,
bad, it's not exactly bad.
No, it's not bad. It's just young people getting
it's
drunk
just
and
drunk,
great
young,
restaurants.
crazy. It's like spring break all
yeah,
the time.
basically.
When was the last time you went to spring break?
It's been a long time. I'm not really into it. Even when I was
Really?
on spring break in college, I wasn't really into it. I was
We
like,
dream
this just
about
seems
that
like
Too many
stuff.
people throwing
fucking
beads at
great
you.
place to get stabbed.
Is
It's
it?
just too crazy.
Is it worth going?
Well, I think whenever you give someone the opportunity, like, this is the time, it's New Year's Eve, let's go
Yeah.
crazy. Like, people go crazy on their own. You don't need to give them fucking a day where they're allowed to go crazy.
Or like
Did you
the
sac-
full moon party in Thailand. Now
Yeah.
they make the half moon party and the quarter moon party. Like
Yeah,
they needed
it's
more days to go
madness.
nuts.
Well, there's a lot of clubs do New Year's Eve nights. They do stand-up comedy shows. For the longest time, I avoided those just because I got tired of the drunken crowds on New Year's. They're so crazy. It just wasn't worth doing. But you know,
Tell him where we spent New Year's this
Where
year.
did we spend? I can't remember.
We got up to the
Oh,
farms.
we went hunting, yeah.
Up to Terry
Meanwhile,
Wixon's.
bloody, here's something for you. Every time we speak to an American or Canadian, we spoke to there were these two guys at the UFC, Antonio Cavallo, a real nice guy, and his friend Monkey, who's a really good. He doesn't use his real name, and they live up north in Canada, and they hunt fucking bears and wolves and
That's
and
sick.
with automatic rifles. In Australia, you can only get single shot.
Yeah, bolt action.
And they're saying to me, I'm like, we're going to come next year and you guys are going to take us hunting. This will be fun. And he said, I said, why don't you come to Australia and hunt? He goes, you out of your fucking mind? I'm not coming to Australia. I go, what do you mean? He goes, come to Australia and hunt. You guys got the most dangerous animals in the world. And I'm thinking, like, you just said you hunt wolves and bears. Like,
we don't have shit that attacks us.
the only thing that attacks
brown
us are
snake.
pigs.
crocodiles.
Yeah, but yet the pigs
Nah, but
attack
that's-
us because we're
so
chasing
we're in
them.
New South Wales, so there's no crocodiles.
Where are the crocodiles?
They're up,
Up north.
northern territories and stuff. You got to be careful you don't step in a puddle there. You know?
Really?
Yeah,
there
I
might
mean-
be one hiding underwater.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
they're,
for
they're, they're
sure.
terrifying.
Yeah,
Fuck
you
yeah,
don't
they
see
are.
them where we are though.
But the thing is, for us, like the scariest creature you're going to see is a brown snake.
Yeah, we had
You
one
know,
of
which
those
is
in our-
deadly,
Yeah.
but they don't want to be there. If you're hunting in bloody Canada, there's bears and polar bears if you keep going up, you know.
Yeah.
But bears and wolves. We don't have wolves.
We don't have things that attack us.
We don't have anything that attacks us.
Yeah, so the crocodiles, they're limited to one part of the island, but
They do
what
swim
about
down.
the water? The swim, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about like bush hunting, right? Like in a bush, right? But swimming up on the top side of Australia, you don't just have to worry about sharks. You have to worry about crocodiles.
Crocodiles
In the
and sharks.
beach.
And what part is that? What is the
It's like Darwin
cities?
area,
Darwin.
way up north.
Up above Queensland. Queensland sort of up
There's,
above,
not,
yeah.
there's not much up there.
Have you guys seen that guy who's claims to be Jesus in Queensland? He's become
No.
fairly famous on the internet. There was
No.
an internet expose about him. Some, I believe it was a British guy, went to Queensland and talked to this guy. He's got a huge colony of people up there that believe he's Jesus.
Oh wow!
He's got some woman with him that he says is Mary.
So she's a whore.
Well, you know, she's a reincarnated whore, sir. I don't think her herself, but,
Yeah.
but apparently this guy's causing a stir up there, and people are hoping he gets eaten by crocodiles.
He's got a good chance as long as there's a puddle around.
So is that bad?
Wait, in terms of the puddles, I mean, look, the problem
Ponds,
with the crocodile
lakes,
is,
anything like that, right?
look, I mean, like a bear, you could probably run around a tree, like a black bear. I don't know. I've never seen one. We're looking
We don't
forward
have-
to actually doing
Run
it.
What about
around
koala
a tree.
bears?
No, I'm saying as in like a black bear, you could probably shoot it or climb or something, right? Not a brown bear, the smaller ones.
Do you know how fast a black bear
I
can
have
get up
no
a tree?
idea. We want to go next year.
Black bears can literally get up a tree as fast as they can run.
Ah, Jesus.
They go like this. They just go up the tree. Yeah, you're not going to outclimb a black bear.
Do you reckon a good black belt could strangle one?
No.
I don't think so. Either.
No, I don't think you could. You could shoot it. I mean, most of them are scared of people because we usually have guns and bows and arrows and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But black bears are tricky, man.
I've never seen one. Yeah, we've never.
They don't usually attack people. Black bears are much more likely to run away from people than attack people. People have died because of black bears. Brown bears, on the other hand, are fucking
Yeah, I
terrifying.
hear so.
Grizzlies are a totally
What's
different
that
animal.
movie?
And
Anthony Hopkins one. With the bear that's bloody chasing him. For
Oh
the,
yeah, I don't remember that. I don't remember the name of it.
They're terrifying though.
The polar bears are the most dangerous. Though.
Really?
Yeah, because they're 100% carnivorous. The other
Right.
ones are omnivores.
Right.
Even grizzly bears are omnivores.
Apparently
Mostly,
brown, sorry, go.
I'm sorry. Brown bears hunt a lot. They'll kill moose and they chase moose and
nice.
chase them down and kill them. They chase antelope or rather a caribou and deer. They'll eat
We don't have
fawns.
any of that stuff.
But they definitely kill people. They kill people every year. They kill people even in America every year.
That's brown
Forget
bears
about
you're talking
brown
about.
bears.
Brown bears,
Brown
yeah.
bears and grizzlies are essentially the same bear. Black bears are smaller but still very dangerous. But all those bears, they eat different things. They'll eat
Right.
like roots and berries. But if a polar bear sees you, they just go, "Oh shit, I could eat that," and then they just start coming at
Jesus
you.
Christ.
They all just want to eat anything that's moving is on the menu.
Well, what about wolves? Are they scary? You think they're scarier than bears?
Wolves are scary as fuck because they act together. The scary thing about wolves is they act together. There haven't been very many attacks on human beings, but it's only because we figured out how to contain them and kill them. there used to be a lot of them. I mean, all that big bad wolf, all those stories, the Little Red Riding Hood and all that stuff, that all came about because at one point in time, before the wolf populations were put under control, especially back before they had really good weapons, wolves were a huge problem.
Right.
During World War I, the Russians and the Germans had a ceasefire because in the forest they were killing so many troops. The wolves, they ran into a super pack, and wolves, especially in like the really cold climates, can form super packs. There's also a principle of the further north you go, the larger the mammals are. That's why polar bears are the biggest bears and Kodiak bears. Because the further north you go, the more they have to maintain their body mass or to in order to keep heat. So you have enormous wolves, and there were so many of them that they were killing so many Russian and German troops that they got together and they made a ceasefire. They said, "All right, we're going to just kill these wolves, and then we'll go back to killing each other."
Well,
it's a famous incident. Yeah,
this guy Monkey was telling me, like, I was like, wolves, whatever, because we got dingoes, and dingoes are kind of like crackheads. If they kind of gang up, they'll kind of and follow you. You're kind of you're in trouble.
When was the last time you saw a dingo?
Well, my dad was jogging once. He saw one dingo, and he kept jogging, and then he saw two. He kept jogging, and then he saw on Fraser Island.
If you ever come to Australia, you've got to go to Fraser Island.
Yeah,
best
Fraser
place in
Island's
Australia.
And bring some anti-dingo weapons.
Well, you just don't jog on your own. Bring Red Band. Or
How
something.
big are they?
They're like dogs.
First. They're like dogs, like 70 pounds, 60 pounds.
They're kind of like, you guys have got something similar in
Coyotes.
the hills. Yeah,
Coyotes.
something similar to them there.
They kill people every now and then. A woman died a couple of years ago, a folk singer up in Canada. A bunch of coyotes killed her. She was 19 years old, young kid. Apparently a talented singer too. But the wolves that they're starting to shoot now in North America are really fucking big. Jamie, pull up a picture of a big wolf that someone's killed. They kill these wolves and they take pictures of them after they shoot them. They like put them in bear hugs and hold them up so you see how big they are. You know, they're 150, 200 pounds. They're fucking huge.
I love dogs. I could never shoot a dog.
You say that, but
yeah, what if it was a bloody wolf?
Circling you.
I love humans, but I'd shoot one that wants to kill me.
Look at the size of that. That's one of them. That's a perspective shot. The wolf's in front of you. It's hard to tell. Yeah. Show one of the ones where a guy's picking up a wolf, because there's some of them where guys are holding up these wolves, and you're like, that is fucking insane. It's bigger than a person. Look at that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, look at the size of that fucking thing. Right. And they have a lot of them now in places like Idaho and Montana. They're starting to shoot them and put hunting seasons on them and put larger tag limits on them as well, because they want more people to kill wolves.
That's a lion.
They're big.
That's big. See, what are you
There's
guys
another
scared
one.
of
Look at the size of that.
Australia, we've got the smallest. We've got the bloody little spider that kills you, and a snake.
Well, a lot of these are reintroduced in North America. The thing is, they were almost decimated in North America, so they brought in the Canadian wolves to repopulate. And then again, here's the issue. The further north you go, the colder the weather is, the larger the animals. And so you get in these larger wolves. I mean, they're the same species, technically, but it's just like white-tailed deer. White-tailed deer in Mexico tend to only be like around 100 pounds. But when you get up to Alberta, white-tailed deer get to like 250, 300 pounds sometimes because it's much colder, and they need to have more body mass to keep their body heat up. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Australia's pretty weak like that. Yeah. I mean, crocodile's probably the worst, I guess.
No. The funniest thing was when we were in Vegas yesterday, I met up with a friend of a friend, and I was like, you and your boyfriend got to come to Sydney sometime. Like, Sydney? Because, man, if I go there, it's just everything wants to kill me. I've heard that like
the worst. Where
10
does that
times.
Come from?
Like, everything's trying to kill me. Got spiders.
Yeah, but
snakes,
you're one of the only
that.
Americans who's been there. That's how you know.
Well, here's the thing. And she's like, "Oh man, I heard about those drop bears." And I was like, "Are you serious?
Don't give that away. Yeah. You don't know about drop bears, do you?
What's a drop bear?
Drop bear is it's a kind of an alternate species of koala bear. And they hang, koala bears?
Yeah.
And they hang out in trees, and they drop on people's heads. They don't know why, but for some reason, the way Americans talk, you get where we're going with this.
They fucking hate Americans?
They fucking hate Americans.
It's the accent. There we go.
It's basically like, well, yeah, that's the drop bear.
That's the grey ones. See if you can pull a black
one.
Get
the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
that's not real.
It's no.
That's real? A koala bear with giant fangs?
Look up black drop bear.
They only attack Americans.
Australian black
they only
drop bear.
attack Americans. Are you trying to keep Americans out of Australia?
We may or may not be doing that.
Are you guys fucking with us?
I'm not sure.
Come on, are you fucking with us?
I'm not sure if we say anything. I'm sure when we get back to the visa section at our airport, they may take our passports.
How is it possible that these koala bears? This shit is Photoshop, son.
Drop bears.
This is bullshit. This is bullshit,
It's
isn't
something
it?
about the pitch and the smell of the American pheromones.
It's the mustard.
Something about red
It's the
meat.
I
mustard.
smell bullshit.
You're smelling the right thing.
Okay, why are you bullshitting people? They don't
'cause
know any better.
In Australia, it's just a thing. Every time you meet an American, koala bears are the most harmless, bloody useless.
I've seen like
thing.
3 in my life.
They make little chocolate treats.
So these images with this fake teeth.
It's
fake.
it's an Australian
bears
joke.
target
It's an
tourists.
Australian
Oh.
joke.
But obviously, like this girl yesterday was like,
no, they're terrified.
They're like, what about those drop bears? I'm like, are you serious?
Tell that bitch to go online. You find out in 2 seconds. The first thing when you Google drop bears is Museum of Hoaxes.
yeah.
Oh, that's.
I mean, all we
hilarious.
got to worry about are pigs with short legs and pretty much pigs and kangaroos.
Yeah, brown snakes.
And they're not. Do you guys eat kangaroo here?
You can get it.
yeah.
I mean, you can get it. You can get it. Like there's exotic meat places where they'll
It's
sell.
pretty common in Australia.
There's a place that serves. You could buy lion meat.
That
You can buy
sounds like It's
lion.
not going to be fresh. Yeah.
It's all going to be frozen. All of it's going to be frozen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's exotic meat companies. Like people are into like trying weird shit like zebra and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Well,
I tried that.
kangaroo's
in South
pretty
What is
common in
zebra
Australia.
like?
I had a lot of the we eat something called dry horse, which is like dried sausage and biltong. It's like your jerky.
But no.
Made out of zebra.
They've got everything there.
They do
Like
Wow.
everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's some really good stuff.
Well, I know that there's these different places that you can go in Africa where you can, shoot like
Whatever you want.
anything you want. And Louis Theroux
Yeah.
had a whole special about it. It's really
Yeah,
quite
we watched
fascinating. Did you watch
You watched
that?
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, when you had that podcast, I was geeking out because when I hear that guy talk, I just want to hug him. He's just like such a charming fellow.
He's very cool.
Yeah.
He's very interesting too. I really enjoy talking to
my
him.
mum loves him. If you listen to this, Louis, my mum, Mrs. Apter, loves you.
I love you, man.
That's cool. Yeah, it was interesting having him on because somewhere along the line I realized that he was sizing me up to figure out whether or not he could do a story on me. Like
Louis was?
Yeah, there was. Well, I think he thinks that I'm starting a cult or something like that, or he heard it because he's like, I've met all these people that tell me I have to go on the Joe Rogan podcast. And he's like, they have this thing in their eye, they look a little crazy. And he's like, are you starting a cult? Like he had this conversation with me, and I'm like, no, man, no, it's not. If it's happening, it's not. I'm not. It's not me.
We had a bunch of guys sign up to our academy. They're not there anymore, but they signed up and
How
they
do you
said,
talk about
yeah, we listened to the Joe Rogan podcast. He says we need to do jiu-jitsu, lift kettlebells, and smoke weed. So these guys they bought kettlebells. These are IT nerds, like the dorkiest dudes you ever seen, right? They bought the kettlebells. I'm pretty sure they didn't take them out of the box. And after training every day, they go smoke weed in their car. And like it was just absolutely what you prescribed in your cult.
I'm not prescribing shit. I'm not running a cult. I just like to state that for the record. There is no cult. Stop looking for a sign-up sheet on my website. It doesn't exist.
But the thing I was going to say about, which is interesting about the internet, we were talking about this on the way here, is like in my gym, each person has their own kind of little. Okay, so for example, like most guys listen to your show, right? That do martial arts, but they each tend to diversify. Like one guy goes, "Yeah, no, I'm not into Joe Rogan anymore. I'm into Duncan Trussell. He's more kind of like, my kind of like tempo or vibe. Like in all the kids have now like chosen their
paths.
Yeah.
Well,
it's cool though.
It's a cool time to like for content because everything's free too.
Right.
It used to be that if you wanted different stuff online, well, first of all, podcasts didn't exist just 10 years ago.
Right.
You couldn't find them. And then second of all, like to have different radio shows that you listen to, it's very difficult to get a hold of. Like I have a bunch of Terrence McKenna recordings and Alan Watts and a few, different interesting people, like a few Timothy Leary things, and that I've downloaded here and there from various websites. But you had to search for them. It was really hard.
We used
Now
to
you
have a
can
little
find
CD
anything.
of you, like, and I remember I was saying the first time we heard your stuff was my friends in high school, and this is I'm 33. This is 15 years ago or something, smoking cigarettes and listening to this crazy dude on a CD talking about little athletes going to China and stuff. That was probably like your older stuff, right?
Little athletes going to
A little,
China.
like the school teacher comes up to him and says,
Oh, no.
it's
That
old
was
material.
about the Olympics.
Yeah,
a
it was
whole
an
bit
old- it was an old-
about little. It wasn't about Chinese. It was about.
Sorry, I messed it up. That's why you're the comedian.
It was
So nice.
about someone going to the Olympics and then having to go to high school after they win the gold medal in the Olympics
That's
and
right.
take like math seriously. The teacher starts giving them shit about not doing their homework. Yeah.
But the thing is that your stand-up, and probably back in the day like Bill Hicks and stuff, was kind of a dirty little secret that made me sound smarter at parties, you know. And nowadays everybody listens to podcasts. It's like it's great, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying as an there's no dirty little secret anymore.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's the thing that people love. They love knowing things before it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then, oh, I knew it before it was mainstream. It's all bullshit now. I don't even listen to Rogan anymore. He's all bullshit. That's for fucking people that are just now getting into podcasts. I'm all about Duncan Trussell now.
that's what his sidekick Ben does. Sidekick Ben's like, oh, I can't say Ben's name.
Well, you know what? People will do that. They'll do that, and then they'll abandon.
he likes you. He does.
They'll abandon
Yeah, I'm
Duncan
sorry.
after a while, and then they'll go to another guy, and then but it's fine. You know, I do that too. I get in these streaks where I'll get into a certain podcast and I'll listen to only hardcore history for like 6 months, and then I'll go with Radio Lab. I'll listen to only Radio Lab for 3 months. It's like. You get annoyed at people too if you listen to them too much. Like I've heard people like complain about me. Yo, your podcast changed. I used to love it. Now it changed. No, it's actually hasn't changed. It's exactly the same. It just you listen to someone after a while, they become fucking annoying.
Yeah.
That's why marriages break up. That's why you don't hang out with the same fucking guy every day, all day. You get bored with people. It's fucking people get annoying, man. Everything gets annoying. If you have, I love cheeseburgers, but if I had a fucking cheeseburger every day, I'd want to shoot myself. After a while, you'd be like, Jesus Christ, enough with the cheeseburgers.
And the quality of the guest has been slowly sinking, I see as well.
Because you guys are here? I had Eliza Schlesinger on before you, and she won Last Comic Standing.
Really?
And she's hilarious,
Oh.
so how dare you? Well, you know, I think one of the keys to the podcast is that I put people on that I would like to talk to. Genuine interest is the most important thing to me. And people say, oh, you need to have this kind of person or that, or more science people or more... whatever. I'm not interested. What I'm interested in is what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in diversifying for anybody else's ideas. That way, the thing that I talk about is always something that I'm genuinely fascinated with, and that's all I'm concerned with. And
You've been promoting a lot of people doing podcasts, as in like telling them to do their own podcast.
sure,
right?
yeah, I did that with Eliza earlier. I think there's plenty of room. First of all, there's 7 fucking billion people on the planet, 300 million people in this country, and the idea that you should only want people to listen to your podcast is foolish. And for what I stated before, you're going to get bored of me. You know, it's like there should be a lot of other shit you tune into. There's plenty of room for everybody. And podcasts also, I think the better you get at something, the more you do it. And when I say the podcast is the same as it's always been, I don't necessarily know, because I think I've probably changed as a human being. I'm evolving. At least I try to, constantly working on myself. So I would hope that the podcast gets better. But along the way, you kind of realize that there's plenty for everybody. But I'm like that with everything, man. I promote all my friends when it comes to stand-up comedy, when it comes to everything. I think that the idea of only promoting yourself or only pushing yourself, that's a famine mentality. And I think that mentality is a very dangerous mentality. It's foolhardy. It's stupid, and it promotes this sort of desperate sort of thinking, which I think goes against the very nature of progress itself. I think it's all about helping people out. It's all about promoting ideas that you find beneficial, promoting people that you enjoy their work or their ideas. And I think that the more you do that, the better it is for you and the better it is for everybody.
Can I ask you, with regard to like he's and my friend are starting a podcast, right? What advice? Well, he was writing a book originally. That was the original thing.
Mm-hmm.
But writing's not really his thing,
Right.
or mine, really. Do you think a podcast is a good place to start?
Fuck
with
yeah.
stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just do it. It's not hard. I mean, you don't need a setup like this where it's all so complicated with cameras and all that shit. All you need is
Predator.
an MP. Yeah, you don't need a Predator or a lava lamp or a salt rock. All you need is an MP3 recorder and microphones. It's super easy to do for a couple $100. You set it up, you put it on a table, you sit around with some chairs, and you talk, and you get better. You do it at first, and you listen to them, and you listen to input online. That's a big one. Listen to what people say. Oh, you talk over people too much, or you interrupt too much. And sometimes people do things along those lines. They don't even realize they're doing it, and you have to tell them. Or some people, they're not listening. They're just waiting for their turn to talk. There's a lot of that going on too.
It's funny when you're saying that. I'm conscious of myself doing that. In terms of, I'm like, okay, hold on. Like, do you get like that? You're like, I'm like, okay, just hold back.
Well, there's an art to conversation. And that's one of the things you find out about doing podcasts. You find out about the art of conversation. You find out about the art of when to talk, when not to talk, listening, actually interacting with people instead of just trying to say your things. Like, there's some people that are frustrating to do podcasts with because all they're trying to do is impress upon you how much they know and spout out facts and quote people. And you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, did you even listen to what I said? You just waited until I was done, and then you spit out a bunch of quotes and shit that are not even related. You know, they have this idea that they want to get out, and a lot of it is like trying to sound cool. It's a lot of ego. There's a lot involved that you find these parallels in just a normal conversation. I'm shocked sometimes when I talk to people at how bad people are at interrupting people, not listening to people when they're talking. So podcasting just makes you better at the art of conversation, and the better you get at it, the less awkward a podcast is to listen to. You know, so you just do it, man. Just do it. Start it. You'll get good at it.
So that's the plan.
And then hard, man. You guys could do it. You're hanging here easy. It's easy. You guys are, you're smart. You're articulate. You're easy to talk to. You're down to earth. It's perfect for a podcast. Set it up.
So we're doing.
Put a fucking MP3 recorder, a couple of microphones. Bam, and you're off to the races.
We did one on the Growing Down site, and we recorded it 20 times before we released it.
Why?
Because look, we were sitting there with my friend who's a psychologist, and Dylan and I were there, and we recorded about 20 before that, and it was just like, man, it just listening to yourself, and also on top of that, like. He was very concerned how people would see him as a professional, because he's being open and speaking his mind. He's a really funny guy, Jonathan Bach. He's a really funny guy, but he was a bit concerned. It took us about 20 times for him to stop playing a character, like Dr. Cat / Hannibal Lecter. So like somewhere between the two, and he looks like Vince Vaughn.
So he's having a hard time relaxing and being himself. Yeah. Well, that happens. That happens, and that'll be taken care of in time. You just got to do it. Just do it after a while. You get used to it. I mean, I have friends that sucked at podcasting in the beginning, and now they're awesome at it. It just takes time. You figure out how to do it right. Some people, by the way, they fucking never get better. They'll podcast for hundreds of episodes, and they still say stupid shit and jump in the wrong time and fuck up the flow of the conversation and make it all about them. It's You're going to have that too. You're going to have guests on that are disasters that you're never going to have on again, and you recognize that like while you're talking to them, like, oh fuck, I can never have this guy on again. Some people Some people are just not fucking interesting.
Yeah,
you don't even know why. Like, what is it about one person's personality that makes them fascinating? I don't know. Is it honesty? Is it their curiosity? What is it? I don't know. Everybody's got a different thing.
Sometimes I were talking before about like some people we're talking about what, and meanwhile I've just talked over him for the whole podcast. I brought him here. I want to hear.
No, you didn't.
That's cool.
But, no, you guys are all interacting. It's cool.
But the thing was, like, sometimes it kind of feels like people aren't ready to hear some stuff, like in terms of holding back, and I wonder if that comes across as boring when you're trying to, you know what I mean? Like, we're talking about some of the stuff, some of your stories is like maybe not for. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it might come across as not being willing to share. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't think so. Sense? You can't overthink things either. You got to just put it out and then listen to the feedback. Listen to it yourself, but sometimes it's hard to see yourself the way other people see you. You have to. I mean, then it's also it's gonna be hard listening to the feedback because a bunch of people are gonna write Z, fucking boring, kill yourself. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of that. You're gonna have to deal with that.
Our parents,
your own parents, no. You're gonna have to deal with that. But listen, I would think that just your stories about Thailand. I mean, just the story that you were telling me about those dealing with those bodies, just that alone, like holy shit.
What were you telling me? You were telling me today something about the eating. Remember you talking about, I haven't heard any of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the stories, a lot of them are, I think, funny to me, like being of a Jewish background, for example. I never ate pork. It was just what we didn't, I know it's a part of my religion, but like...
Now I can't stop you.
I fucking love pork. And, we were transporting bodies off on one boat and would sit in the middle making sure no bodies jumped off the side or fell off the side. And then would transport food back onto the island without cleaning anything.
Oh,
and then they would prepare food there. There'd be flies, and it was pretty bad.
Holy
and then
shit.
I was starving. I was like, man, we're going to eat. And we were vomiting a lot just from the smells and stuff. I was like, let's, I need some food, man. I've got to eat now. So I went over there. I'm like, what is this packet? There's just like flies everywhere. I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm not eating that. And then I said, no, I've got to eat something. So I had it was just a little packet, and I ate it, and I was like, this stuff is friggin' awesome. So I said to the Thai person, I'm like near eye, like, what is this? And like, ni moo. So I'm thinking moo. I'm like, it must be a cow.
Right.
So I'm eating this stuff, and I got so addicted to it that I got them to write it down in English and Thai for me. And then when I went back to the mainland, and for many, many trips after, I kept ordering the same dish. I loved it. And my friend turns around to me and goes, dude, since when do you eat pork? I'm like, it's not pork. That's moo. It's cow. Like moo. Like cow. I think these Thais probably looked at me like, oh, this white guy. And I was like, oh, they're just making the sound of the animal. But moo actually translates to pork. So I've been eating pork for like 10 years. I didn't even know it was pork. And there was just so much miscommunication and translation problems. And there's lots of little
So
things.
you still thought that you were adhering to your religious principles?
Look, I probably would have eaten it anyway. Like, we eat prawns and stuff. But it was so good, man. I've never given it up. I love pork.
Yeah, prawns are against the religion as well.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
Shellfish, right? You're not supposed to eat
But
shellfish.
Jews love the unlimited shrimp buffet, so
Yeah, pretty much. It's true.
That's hilarious that shrimp gets a pass, but pork,
it's just as
cloven
bad.
hoof.
Yeah.
Have you ever had wild pork?
We've hunted it but never eaten it. You can't eat it in Australia.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's the worms.
A lot of
isn't it?
worms, and they're pretty gross.
So they take
Worms,
the
huh?
babies, they capture the babies, and they deworm them and send them to Germany
Yeah.
because they love the boars. I didn't know boars were pigs for the first. When I watched Asterix and Obelix, I was like, boars. I didn't know boars were pigs. They were like this mythical creature.
Well, it's all the same species.
I didn't know that.
I had a guy. There's a guy that I hunt with that's been on the podcast. His name's Steve Ranella.
I
You ever
bought
listen
him
to
your
him?
book, yeah.
Yeah, great book. But he said they're all from the genus Suscrafa. They're all the same thing. It's that a wild pig can breed with a domestic pig. They're all pigs. There's a thing about pigs that happens too. When you take a domestic pig and they get loose in the wild, within 3 weeks, their body starts to change. They metamorphosize. Their hair gets longer and thicker and bushier. Their tusks grow. Their nose grows. Really
Did you
fascinating
get that
stuff.
fact from him? You've been telling me
I've
that
been
for like
telling.
a year.
That's what I
He
said.
told me
You
that.
used to
I'm
make
like,
me sound
what?
smarter at parties. Now everyone listens to
Yeah,
your
now
show.
I know
and
where
they're
you're really
like,
getting it
Rogan
from,
said
huh?
that. I'm like, fuck, man.
You told me that like
I
a couple
can't
of
get
weeks
away with
back
anything
at
anymore.
hunting.
They morph. It's really fascinating. They look physically different than the pigs that you have like in domestic stables. They change their appearance. Their nose grows longer. I mean, it's really weird.
They get tusks and stuff, right?
Yeah, and that's a domestic pig. They start to
You
look
guys
like
have
boars.
a problem with it here as well.
Ooh,
huh?
huge
Yeah.
problem. Huge problem.
American hoggers.
Yeah, there's no tag limits on them in California.
Yeah?
You could shoot as many as you want, man. You could go shoot pigs all day.
See,
awesome.
I can't do it, man. But he likes.
You can't shoot pigs?
No, I just in Australia you don't shoot pigs. You dog hunt. them
Oh,
with
and then
a
you
knife
stab
and
them.
a
Yeah.
thing.
You
I
shoot
can't do that,
as
man.
well,
But we've got. Depends where you are in New South Wales, but you can kill pigs and kangaroos if they're destroying the land.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to understand, like Skippy. Did you ever watch Skippy back in the day?
The bush kangaroo.
Skippy the bush kangaroo. He's like he was
Skippy.
kind of like Mr. Ed.
Skippy.
He was
Right.
he's like
He
the
talked.
Australian Mr. Ed. He didn't talk, but he was kind of that character. Like he was a good guy. Rescued.
sweetie.
He was pretty much like Captain America, about as interesting. Like he was basically like a hero that didn't really do anything, say anything too interesting. Or you like Captain America, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
I find him dull, but anyway. So
Is
sorry.
this Skippy?
So Skippy,
Skippy.
that's Skippy. And
So
it'd
it's
be
like
dull.
Lassie.
It'd be man.
Yeah,
And
but
Skippy
Lassie's
would come
probably a
along.
lot
Oh, it's
smarter.
Skippy.
Can I tell you something you haven't seen? Something very Australian. So when we go hunting and the farmers want to kill the kangaroos, it's really hard for us because it's like
Because it's Skippy?
it's Skippy.
I grew up with Skippy.
We grew up with Skippy. And now
But
we
there's
wanna
some
kill him.
kangaroos that are bigger, right? Is it red ones or the
Red
gray
kangaroos,
ones? Red ones are bigger.
The red ones are scary. Yeah.
How big do they get?
Well,
I
they're
saw
bigger
one
than
at
a
the
person.
zoo, Taronga Zoo in Sydney, which, by the way, if you ever go... Did you go to Taronga
Yeah.
Zoo?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
place is
Fantastic,
wicked.
right?
These
Pretty badass.
kangaroos... I haven't seen kangaroos in the wild this big. They were massive.
Yeah,
The
they're-
ones we see are small ones.
Like,
and,
if you hit one, like a kangaroo, people...
oh Jesus!
You know,
yeah.
people talk about kangaroos like, oh, they're so cute and this and that, and they are cute. They taste really good as well. But, like, they're on the roads everywhere.
Yeah.
And, one,
They'll
it
kill
wasn't
you.
even longer. It was like 2-3 months ago. You read in the newspaper, a kangaroo went, because they jump in front of you like deer.
Right.
Not as, they jump a lot higher. And they look at the headlights like, oh, what's this? And then, boom, you hit them. But what happens is it went through, because the way they're built, like, you know, deer, like it hits, it rolls over the car. Whereas this kangaroo went through
the windshield.
The very bottom heavy.
front to back, and killed the kid in the back.
Oh God!
So, like, you know, you see them everywhere on the road, wombats and kangaroos.
When we were out about a year ago, one tried to jump through the window while we were driving. We don't personally hunt kangaroos, but you can do it in a certain area.
There's just too many of them; it gets boring.
But the one thing I was going to say, I don't know, Americans probably haven't seen this, and there was a bit of a legal thing going on in Australia, but it just reminded me of Skippy. There's a show called Home and Away. You've seen Home and Away? Mm-hmm. It's very popular in England.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it,
It's
but
like
I've heard
a
of it.
90210-ish thing. Anyway,
Right.
there's this very wholesome character called Alf.
Oh, he's
Have you
great.
seen this? You can swear on your podcast and
Yeah.
stuff, right? Okay.
Are you serious?
Load
We're just
up.
swearing all fucking day.
Yeah, it's true, but it's
You
just
forgot?
second nature. But if you can get Jamie to load up Alf, Mr.
Not Alf like the alien.
No,
that's on
no. That
American
guy was
television
creepy though.
show.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
This is Alf is like a wholesome sort of fatherly character on a small town show that everyone likes, right?
And what kind of animal is he?
He's not an animal, but he is in this. What we're going to show you. So there was this whole thing in Australia. What happened was he
Give Jamie the name of it so he can go.
Okay,
find
look
it.
up Alf, Mr. Doodleburger. So basically, what happened was a guy took all existing Home and Away stuff and he dubbed over it and made Alf into this character who's basically like a serial killer / murder rapist that loves like little Colombian boys. And now it's been quoted all over, but it ended up on the news because they tried to sue the guy.
Yeah, that's kind of a douchey thing to do.
It is,
Poor Alf.
but it is hilarious, and we have to show you because
You know,
Americans
we-
don't know what we're talking about.
We don't have Hollywood. You know, we don't have Hollywood.
Oh, okay, this is one of them. That's Alf.
What's the music?
Oh, where's the sound? So they try to
Are
shut
you playing
this guy
music
down.
for something else?
No, that's it. It's just not. There's no.
Okay, just a video. Well, Americas, we don't really have too many of those videos available. Probably.
Try look up Alf.
Is this really important?
Awards. You have to see it because it's a very Australian thing.
Alf Awards.
Award ceremony. And it caused a lot of problems in Australia, a lot of controversy, and basically your average Australian quotes it all the time. But Americans have no idea. And
They quote this video.
this video
because
all
it's so
the-
ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
Wow.
I'm trying to judge whether you've got the patience for it right now. I'm not sure, but you do have to see it. It's look up Alf.
So you could never kill a kangaroo. Basically, you never
I
kill
couldn't.
a kangaroo
No,
because it's
no.
skippy.
But the guys we go with do, and they eat it and stuff like
Is
that.
this
And
it?
This is it. Can we put the volume? Oh, wait, is this it? I'll tell you now.
This is.
This might be the real thing.
It might be the real thing, which instead of the fake thing.
I've had the opportunity over many years to present many gold loads.
No, I don't think this is it.
Okay,
it's
that's
called,
cool.
I'll
Wait,
find
forget
Let's
it. Forget it.
I'll Twitter it to you guys, and you
Okay.
can check it out because it's outrageous.
So, you couldn't shoot. You couldn't do the pig hunting thing because of the way they do it, where they sick dogs on them and then
Look,
stab
they're
it.
sick
So
dogs and they stab it, and like
that's
the
a real
country
common way to
boys-
do it.
The
Yeah.
country boys are a bit desensitized to it, and they're real nice dudes, as well. They're nice guys, but
I don't
yeah.
feel like that's hunting. You know, if that's a
not for
weird
me.
way to do it, holding it down with a dog and then stabbing it in the neck. You can
It's
shoot
still
them.
dangerous though.
Why don't they? It sure is, but why don't they shoot them?
You can't. So, like with the
Can't.
terrain, it's quite hard
When
to
you kill
find
the
them.
dogs.
So a lot of the dogs. There's different types.
But why are
of
they
dog
using
hunting.
dogs?
So they normally sniff them out and get them running.
Uh-huh.
But with the dog, you don't want to use the gun in case you shoot the dog.
So
as
is
well.
it just such a dense terrain that you can't find them any other way?
Sometimes.
It's
Sometimes.
generally. I mean, look, I was against it, and then I went to the farms and I was hanging out with the guys, and they, like anything, they've got their own logic, and it makes sense, their own rationale, and the rationale is, look, it cost us $100,000 last year, and it's basically like, look, we're growing food for people, and they're destroying it.
Yeah.
So therefore, we kill them.
Well, they're very different than any other animal, and they're also very smart, and they breed all year
Very.
round. They have
Yeah.
many litters of many pigs all year round. It's just they have a huge problem with it in America, especially in Texas. Texas is so bad that they've allowed them to start shooting them out of helicopters with machine
yeah.
guns. Have you seen
Crazy.
that?
I
Yeah.
haven't. But
Want to
yeah.
see something fucked up?
Yeah,
Pull
let's
up
do
Pigman and Ted Nugent. it's Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse.
Yeah, they get
seen
on a
this.
fucking
It's crazy.
helicopter and they fly over these. Well, these places are literally infested with pigs. They have so many pigs in these farms, and they destroy millions of dollars worth of crops every year.
Yeah.
There's at least 5 million pigs in Texas.
You've also got that show with those hot chicks and the fake boobs running around catching pigs.
$1.5 billion in damage per year.
$1.5 billion.
Yeah, 1.5 billion. I mean, that's incredible.
See, that's the thing. Americans get these machine guns. We've got bolt actions. That
See that guy? That's Pigman. Pigman has a show where he just shoots pigs all year round. That's Ted Nugent. He's an American patriot.
Yeah, I've been hearing
Allegedly.
you talking about it. Yeah. Can I ask you, do you think someone can do this and be well balanced? Like as a person?
Mentally?
Do
you mean?
what?
No, I'm not talking about like just hunting. I mean as in like hardcore animal slaughter.
Well, it depends on what you're doing it for. I mean, what these people are doing with this Apocalypse Now video where they're shooting them out of helicopters, they actually have to eradicate these pigs from these farms. They are growing in population at a staggering rate, and they can't control them. They have no other options other than hiring hunters. So they have companies that they hire to have people come in and shoot these pigs. They bring people on, and they give the meat to families.
Oh,
and,
so it's not just thrown in the...
Yeah.
No.
right.
The hunters for the hungry. Look, they're just delicious. The meat is fantastic. I shot a wild pig a few months back, and I made a ham recently. I brined this ham for 6 days and then smoked it for a day. It's delicious. I mean, it was so good. I'm gonna do it again in a couple of weeks. I have another ham and a couple of shoulders.
You guys do
It's
meat
delicious.
much better than us. We do
So
we
good.
do barbecue well, but you guys are. I went to Kansas and
Oh, Kansas
my
barbecue is
God.
legit.
Arthur,
Kansas City.
yeah,
Woo!
Arthur. What's the one? They've got that popular like.
I don't know the name
franchise.
of it. There's a bunch of really good
We
Kansas
do
City
burnt
barbecue
ends.
spots.
I've never heard of burnt
Oh
ends
yeah,
before.
man.
You guys have got a deep culture of food here. It's Aussies are a bit simple like that. Steak on the barbie.
Texas is no joke too. You want to get some barbecued
been.
pig in Texas. This Pigman has a show now called Boss Hog.
He just likes
and
fat
it's all
chicks.
about his. He has a barbecue place,
Jeez.
and he shoots the pigs, then brings them to the barbecue place, and they serve these wild pigs that they barbecue.
Sounds awesome.
unbelievable.
It's so good. It's so healthy for you too.
Really?
Yeah, they're much healthier
What
animals.
pork is?
They're these
wild
wild,
pigs.
pigs
Wild
because it's
pigs,
a
yeah.
dark meat. Like
Right.
they had this campaign in America called "Pork the Other White Meat," and they would show like pork as white meat. That's unhealthy pork. Like
Right.
if the pork is
Right.
white, it's like anemic. It's like veal. Pork, like wild pork, is dark. It's like a deeper redder color.
Have you had it? I haven't had it.
It's really good.
You haven't had it?
You have to make sure you cook it all the way through because of trichinosis.
Right.
Because trichinosis comes from animals eating other animals that have trichinosis. So these
Right.
animals could possibly get it from like
Yeah, right.
rats or
Right.
rabbits or anything else that they eat. They eat a lot of deer babies. They eat ground eggs, like ground laying birds.
They eat
Right.
We've caught one
Anything.
eating each other.
Oh yeah, they'll eat anything.
Gross, eh?
They're animals. Pigs they're smart as shit too. They see you coming. They see you, they hear you, they smell you, they fucking bolt.
Well, we saw one of the farmers. There was a whole family, and he went to shoot at them. And the two adult pigs ran one direction, and the kids ran in a line up and escaped. And obviously, they don't talk to each other and plan it, but it was brilliant.
That's funny.
Yeah, it looked. I mean, it looked almost planned.
Well, they're smart as dogs. They're smart, They're tricky animals and delicious.
And delicious.
See, we're smart Australians. We kill them and then we ship them off to Germany. The only people smart enough to eat them.
Did Thais eat pork much? I don't even know.
I didn't know about the worm thing that you guys
Yeah,
have.
there's a lot of worms in the kangaroos as well.
And
Really?
ticks as
Yeah.
well.
The kangaroo's cheap meat for us, Like,
What does it taste like?
it's very gamey. You got to know how to cook it properly.
Yeah.
What's it like?
But it's
It's not the nicest meat, but
got a
it's
bit of a smell to it.
99% fat free.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
very lean.
all the
Strong.
lifters. It's promoted to
I mean,
them as
Really? Kangaroo meat.
Yeah, it's low
Yeah.
fat.
I worry because
Lean.
they basically they kill it and then refrigerate it. It's not
Fresh.
it's they kill it and then put it in the thing, but it's not like bread. You know what I mean? It's like it's some hunter on a farm killing it, chucking in. I don't really know what the process is of.
It's not bred. What do you mean it's not
No,
bred?
I mean like as in there's no farms with kangaroos where they kill, give it health checks and then kill it and then produce it. I'm not saying that's better or worse. I just mean as in, it shows up in your Woolworths. What do you guys have? Not Walmarts. You guys have like Metro or.
It's like our local supermarket.
Local supermarket. We got Woolworths. I don't know what you guys have, but I kind of think like how well is this?
Do they have a Department of Agriculture or anything like that?
I'm sure they do. Yeah,
and they check them, inspect them.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. You couldn't sell it.
Yeah,
easily,
my
right?
friend's a professional, Terry, who we go to the farms lot. He's got a little Thai boxing gym out there, and be going there for a couple of years. And he was a professional hunter for a long time, and he's
And
like
bull rider.
Yeah, and bull rider. That's who got me into it. And he turned around and was like, "Man, I've never eaten kangaroo. Like I've been shooting these things since I was a kid." And he said, "Man, if you saw what was in them, and how we did it, you probably wouldn't eat it." Now, that's only one person.
What was in them? In what way?
A lot of them had worms, but it might just be
They
that.
check the.
Yeah, might just be that
intestines?
area.
I don't know how we got on this topic so much, but it's a good topic.
Pigs, worms? I don't know where
Well,
we
those
started.
kangaroos.
The thing is, funny enough, I was saying to Dylan when we went out to the farm, I'm very conscious of my diet. I'm sure you guys are too, But we went out to the farm boys, they tend to not really think about diet. So they'll eat red meat sometimes and a Red Bull, and that's all they'll eat for 3
A Red
days.
Bull.
They don't eat vegetables. I mean, they do obviously sit down and have a meal here and there, But we went out there and Dylan and I were sitting there and we bought our supplies in our little bag and, we had our snacks and all this and that. And we were eating all the time. Right? And the boys didn't really eat much. And after a while, we realized we were eating because we're anxious. We're not used to having nothing to do. And we'd just automatically pull out a bar and just start eating it, And after a while, we just started doing what the boys did. And I started thinking, man, I'm going to get sick. I'm going to feel gross. I'm going to feel unhealthy. But after a couple of days, I started to realize, I think we put a bit too much emphasis on what we eat because we ate red meat straight for 4 days almost. And we had a little bit of this and that. And because we weren't eating a lot of it, we actually felt quite healthy. As in our body adapted to kind of just doing what we were doing. I was really concerned. I was like, man, I'm going to feel queasy. I'm going to get constipated, all that sort of stuff. But when you're out there and you're doing it, you're just eating it, it seems like maybe we overemphasize veggies
Well,
a
it's
little
certainly
too much.
no, I don't think so. It's certainly not a balanced diet. I mean, you could get away with it for a few days, but
Yeah.
if you took that on for several months, you'd probably see some nutritional deficiencies.
I think the funniest thing was first I brought my brother up there and I've got my jacket on, I've got ammunition, I've got my knife survival kit,
Weekend
bandages
warrior.
for snakes. And I'm pulling it out, just checking, I've got everything, my torches. Liam pulls out a sandwich bag with salad and he's sitting there snacking
Because, man,
on salad.
I can't eat without salad.
We're trying to impress the farm boys, man. You bring out a salad.
I bought my own vegetables because I was like, I can't eat meat
And we'll
without
be out
vegetables.
crocodile
I had my little
falling
bag of
knives.
salad and my cucumber. And
That's hilarious. How long did that stuff stay good for?
we had a cooler for 3 days or something,
Oh, okay.
But anyway, it was just
So-
one of those things where their diet, my body just adapted to whatever it had to do,
That's interesting, man.
I
I
don't
would
know.
think that after a while, your body would go, dickhead, you need a fucking salad or two.
Yeah.
You
Well, I'm
can't
only
just be
talking
eating
3
steak.
days. I'm
Yeah.
talking about 3 days, 4 days.
Yeah, you'd be fine. 3 or 4 days, you'd be fine.
I felt good actually, weirdly.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. It was just, but I was eating a lot less than I normally would in the city. I'd eat little
Yeah.
pieces of meat. They'd kill and barbecue and eat it.
What kind of meat was it again?
It was
Rabbit,
what was it?
deer.
It was rabbit, deer.
So you're just getting really healthy wild game.
Man, rabbit
Yeah.
is out of control.
Rabbit's
guys.
There's
beautiful.
so much
Oh.
vitamins and so much nutrition in wild game too, because they're eating wild grasses and wild
Yeah.
plants that are just filled with natural nutrients. There's,
Rabbit's actually one of the best things I've ever eaten. I was a bit disappointed by deer, but
Deer heart
Really?
was good, man.
Deer heart was
Put a bit
good, yeah.
of butter
well,
on
how
it.
are you disappointed with deer?
it was, look, we didn't, you understand, we didn't hang it properly and all that sort of thing.
Oh,
But our
yeah.
deers aren't like your guys' deers. Our deers are weak ass deers, you know what I mean? Australia's animals are a little bit weak, I think. Yeah, they're not
what
really
way?
meaty. They're not really
not
meaty
meaty?
sort of animals.
Hmm.
Yeah, anyway. That's just my opinion.
That's interesting.
Some farmer's going to punch me and
Yeah,
punch
you
me
don't
over
know
that,
shit about deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not common to get deer, man. We were in Canada and there was deer on the side of the road. We were
Dead?
Or
Or
no, walking.
for sale?
No,
Oh, walking.
There was deer on
Oh yeah, you can
in
get that all
Montreal.
over the place. Well, certain places like in Pennsylvania, there's certain parts of Pennsylvania where they change their deer hunting season to all year round.
Really?
They just let
Yeah,
people
right.
shoot them because they're fucking everywhere. And they use they have a bow season like all year round, and they do it in these areas that are like suburban areas. There was a show on it
They-
on
they
one of these
hunt in
hunting
suburban
shows.
areas.
Yup, these guys set up on. I mean, there's like these estates these beautiful homes that have these giant pieces of property, like 20, 30 acres, and they had fucking so many deer hitting cars, or cars hitting deer, rather. Deer's eating people's lawns and all kinds of shit, eating their gardens, rather, eating their roses, that they brought in these hunters to set up tree stands in these suburban neighborhoods.
That's crazy.
They're our equivalent as a
Crazy.
kangaroo.
Awesome for us because we love to find deer and shoot.
We never find deer, so
It's pretty hard to find.
yeah. People think we're nuts. That's a funny thing. He's the biggest animal lover you've ever met.
Yeah.
He's got this big dog, Ralphie. He loves dogs, works for like dog charities and animal charities, and then he goes hunting.
Yeah, well, people have a hard time with the idea of cruelty, and rightfully so. I mean, I think people are scared that people are hunters or evil people that want to kill animals.
Absolutely.
But the reality is, if you're wearing leather, you're killing animals. You might not do it with your own hand, but you're doing it. You're sitting in a chair right now that's covered in murdered animal skins.
Yeah.
I've had vegans sit in those very chairs that you're sitting in, rest their butt on murdered cows. You know, the shoes you wear, the belt you wear. And then on top of that, if you buy organic vegetables and you think you're away from they fucking run machines over those vegetables to collect them, and they're chopping up a lot of rabbits, a lot of mice. The more animals are killed per pound of vegetables that are killed per pound of meat.
I heard. What is it about vegans that we just love pissing off or teasing, man? There's just something about them.
Well, they're self-righteous. And there's also this moral high ground that they like to take. Not all of them. Some of them are super cool. I've met a lot of really cool vegans, but some of them are really fucking annoying. And they want to tell you that they're better than you because they're vegan. And they're proselytizing too. They're always trying to get other people to be vegan. And this, just by the way, the straight vegan diet, not that healthy.
Yeah.
Omnivore's diet is a better diet. Yeah. You know, and omnivores also, you can eat shit like eggs that have no animal cruelty attached to them whatsoever. I have organic eggs because I have chickens that are pets. I pick my chickens up.
You get your own ones.
Yeah, I have 14 chickens. I can pick them up and hold them, and they give me eggs every day.
That's my wife's dream.
That's what he wants to do.
That's my wife.
It's
wants
great,
to do that, yeah.
and there's no cruelty involved at all. I mean, they lay eggs every day.
Yeah.
They don't have. I mean, there's no potential whatsoever of that egg ever becoming a chicken. The only way that egg can become a chicken is if you have a rooster. So we only have hens. So the hens hang out. They have a good time. They have a big yard to run around on, and they eat bugs and worms and everything they find, and grass as well. And then also we give them chicken food. That's healthy.
Do you eat
chicken
the actual
food.
chickens ever?
No.
You wouldn't kill one and eat it?
I would. Yeah, I almost killed one of them. One of them pecked my daughter in the face, and I came real close. My wife was like, "That little bitch, she did it again." And I was like, "All right, let's do it." I was ready. I was just trying to figure out how to do it. I was going online, and it was almost like the chicken figured out that we were going to fuck it up, and it completely backed off of all of its aggressive behavior. It's like it totally felt the vibe. It was really weird, man. It's like I was seconds away. I bought an axe. I was ready to rock and roll. I was completely ready to cook this chicken up.
I've never eaten a fresh chicken like that.
Well, I was assumed that it's a lot like other things that you are organic and fresh. They just taste better. The eggs taste way better when you eat organic fresh eggs. They're first of all, the yolk is very dark. It's a dark orange. It's just healthier.
Well.
It's very healthy.
Yeah.
I ate 7 of them this morning.
You ate 7 eggs?
Yeah, I eat them all. I eat 6, 7 eggs a day.
Jeez,
yeah, I eat them all the time.
You know, the funny thing is we were forced vegetarians
For the first
10 years of our life.
That's why we
forced
look
you?
like hobbits.
Your family wanted you to be.
My dad was big into karate, and you know, like the karate guys, they have those kind of like they follow different. You know, like they catch onto a certain philosophy, and his whole thing made sense. It was just
What was the
about
philosophy?
hormones. No, look, he just he thought he read all these books, and there was no internet back then, and he had this idea that there were too many hormones in the meat, which is right. You've been to Brazil? Have you ever seen a chicken breast in Brazil?
Yeah,
It's about the size of this table, like and you see all these homeless dudes walking around, they look like they're bodybuilders.
Well, you know what's interesting? There's a misconception about chicken breasts, and it really is not that they pump them up with hormones.
Really?
Cattle is what they use hormones on, but
Really?
chickens, it's just breeding. They've
Right.
just bred larger breasted chickens until they only genetically select the larger breasted chickens, and to the point where these chickens, they're so large breasted that they can't fly. Chickens can fly. They don't fly for very long, but they can fly for short distances. Like my chickens, they have roosts, and they can jump up to the roosts. They flop, 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 and they flop up to the roost and then sit there. But these chickens aren't going nowhere. They're fucking these giant fat tits chickens, but it's genetic selection more than hormones. Not that chickens haven't been shot up with hormones before.
Right.
With chickens, it's more antibiotics that they have to deal with because they're on top of each other and they're getting sick all the time,
right,
and they're also feeding them chicken. It's like they're feeding
they
chickens
feed
chickens. They're
yeah.
feeding them chicken shit and chicken heads and chicken
Damn, it's
assholes.
delicious,
And if you feed them a healthy diet, the omnivorous diet that a regular chicken eats, you get healthier eggs, you get healthier animals.
You do that?
Yeah, I feed them only grass. I mean, my chickens eat natural things like that they find when they go out and peck and they forage in this. I have a big yard and they run around the yard and they kill bugs and stuff. And then we feed them. We also feed them table scraps, so they eat like beef. They've eaten deer before. I've fed them pork.
You ate that deer.
Yeah. I feed. They eat protein.
Spanny deer.
Well, it's funny in Thailand. Like, you don't see a lot of chicken. There is chicken in the food, but it's mainly for Westerners to eat it. But the Thais all have their own chickens. What do they do with them?
They go fighting chicken.
yeah.
Chickens,
It's on
man.
TV.
And they always do it
there.
behind so no one can see. You know, like, oh, quick, someone's coming. The white people are coming. Like, put it in your cage, like, shove it to the side.
But
you know?
they don't kill. They're not the ones with the hooks on. They just like kickboxing. Kickboxing chickens.
That's
And they got
interesting.
the
My
fish as well.
camps. Yeah, my camps.
I have a friend who does that. Well, he's not a friend. He's a friend of a friend, and he has 100 chickens in his backyard.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's from Mexico. You know, he barely speaks English,
I don't know why, but that makes sense to
and
me when you
all
say
of his
that.
friends are from Mexico too. And it's kind of interesting. He got in trouble for killing a goat and cooking it in his yard because he butchered the goat in his yard, and they were upset at him for doing that. And he didn't understand because he's from Mexico, and he's like, he goes, but you eat meat. Like, if you eat meat, like, why do you care how the animal gets killed? I can't kill it in my yard. Like, and he, they told him, like, there's all these regulations. You can't just kill a goat in your yard. He's like, okay, what do I have to do? I have to bring it somewhere to kill it? Like, this is crazy. Why can't I just kill it here? There's a lot of room. I'll just kill this goat.
Don't you think we kind of lost that? It's a weird thing. Like, my wife/girlfriend wife now. I've been married for like I got married 2 days before we went overseas. So she went on a honeymoon to Italy, and I went to Canada. So I actually haven't seen her since then, which is really random. But her mum can kill a chicken and cook it up like you wouldn't believe, right? She's there from a Vietnamese. She's Aussie, but her mum's Vietnamese, right? My grandma, and I'm sure your grandparents could kill a chicken, skin it. They'd be able to, make 40 dishes with it. They'd use the fat, the skin. My dad was telling me, meanwhile, our whole family die of heart disease. The oldest one's like 62. And he was telling me their favorite dish was you'd take all the leftovers, put it on a pan, fry it, skin, bones, everything, right? You'd fry it until it liquefies, and then you'd pour it into a bottle and then dip it in ice, and then you'd take it and you'd just wipe it on your bread.
Oh, okay.
Like
amazing,
Nutella.
right?
Yeah, well, like a
chicken.
pate or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, like a fat pate. But the thing he was saying was his grandma and their like whole generation, they wouldn't have a problem with just take it, skin it, use every part of its body. That's being lost.
The reason why people don't like hunting, although they do eat meat. I have friends that eat meat and will never hunt. They wouldn't do it. They couldn't do it. I'm like, I understand you don't want to be cruel. I understand that they enjoy that separation.
Yeah.
But to criticize people who don't enjoy that separation, I think it's kind of crazy. There's a weird disconnect. But there's a lot of people that eat meat and have eaten meat and don't have a problem with ordering a cheeseburger, but they really look down on people that hunt.
Yeah.
I think it's it's not the easiest way, obviously, but I think it's the easiest on the ethical dilemma is the easiest because you're dealing with an animal like that deer right there had no idea a human being was even a thing until it saw us, and then it was dead moments later. I shot that deer in the middle of the forest in Montana. I mean, that fucking deer was living in the wild country of Montana, and it was delicious. And I had no problem with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And the idea that somehow or another it's okay to eat a cow, but it's not okay to do that. And then other people will tell you, oh, but I only eat organic, grass-fed deer. Let me tell you, or grass-fed cows. Let me tell you something about that. I have a friend who keeps organic grass-fed cows, and those motherfuckers are terrified.
Really?
When you go near them, they run. They run, and they all huddle up together.
Gotta hunt 'em.
Yeah, you know why? Because they know that they're going to die, and they know someone's going to shoot them and eat them. Like this idea that if you eat organic grass-fed cows, you're somehow or another removed from the cruelty. Yeah, they aren't kept in a pen. They aren't jammed into some pig box like pigs are, and they do run around free, and they do eat grass, but they're fucking shitting their pants anytime a person comes
Those
near them.
things we did some city boys did some cow herding Man, not only is that fucking terrifying, if you're in a pen with these cows, I mean, they don't attack humans, but they're big. Have you ever been in a pen?
They're
with them?
massive, man.
Cows are big animals.
And
And this crazy bitch is riding on them.
I
He's
actually
riding
was
the
there.
males.
I was like the first one. I was
Oh,
like,
he did.
I
on a
jumped
cow
on them
too, the
and
idiot.
messed around.
You
on
jumped
them.
on a cow too?
There's a whole
fling.
bunch of them. We just
Do
jumped
cows
on
buck
top.
like bulls do?
Nah, these were old ones.
But they'll run each other into a corner and kill each other. Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
they're so silly.
Well, they're very
The
big.
cows. Would you eat dog?
Would I?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I love dogs. If I was in another country and maybe it was like for a television show or something like that, and they were serving dog,
like Fear Factor.
I would have a real hard time with it still. I might do it just to see what it tastes like and just to, you know, if I was over someone's home and they offered it to me and it was part of their culture,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't think that I would insult them and say that I wouldn't eat it. And if I eat pig, I mean, pig and dog are supposed to be, like, a dog's supposed to be actually as intelligent or more. Or, excuse me, a pig is supposed to be as intelligent or more than a dog.
Yeah.
So it would be a bit hypocritical, but I have a deep connection with dogs. I've had dogs my whole life, and I have 2 dogs now, and I love dogs. I love them.
I've
Yeah,
seen people
this
that love
guy
dogs,
sat
yeah.
me down for an intervention
'Cause
about
you
a
ate
week
dog?
ago. Yeah, I got a massive French Mastiff. I love him.
I think he eats $2,000 a week. Bloody
It's a
food.
lot. And he,
It's an investment
you know,
property.
Turner and Hooch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those are
that
big.
dog,
I have a
yeah.
Mastiff, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a Regency Mastiff. It's a little smaller. They're like 120, 140 pounds.
Oh, this guy goes up to about 90 kilograms.
What's that in
It's
pounds?
200 about.
Yeah.
200.
It's a big boy.
It's a big dog.
Yeah, man. But yeah, we had an
Goofy.
They have a lot of
intervention.
joint problems, right? Those poor dogs.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Not yet.
mine's starting to get a little arthritis in his hips. Not bad. He goes. I mean, he runs, and so you can tell
This
he
guy
gets a little
slobbers
stiff.
everywhere.
Yeah,
What was
they're
that
very
intervention?
slobbery.
Yeah, I
but they're the sweetest dogs ever.
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
my dog is like so great with my kids. You know, they go up and grab his face and he kisses them. Like, he's got no anger in him. The Regency Mastiff was raised to have no human aggression. They're
Right,
just
yeah,
sweet
right.
dogs. No dog aggression either. They're great with other dogs too.
What was my intervention? I don't even
Ah, the
remember this.
intervention. I'm not allowed to put up anymore.
Oh, yeah,
Dog
this bloody guy.
pictures and-
You know what the
You
problem is?
put up too many dog pictures.
Do you know what the
Heaps, man.
problem is, right?
The boys back at home are like, typical to get your dog even mentioned in this show
yeah,
today.
of course, yeah. They're going to be like, oh, you mentioned Ralphie.
Because you love your
Should
dog.
see some pics, man.
It is a weird thing, right? You love dogs, but you also love hunting.
He's eating
Love,
the
I'm
dog.
obsessed with
You
dogs.
can't deny that.
Well, there's a
Yeah.
bond that humans have with dogs, and especially that's a thing that people don't understand, that dogs and hunting have gone hand in hand forever. That's
right.
one of the reasons why we have such a tight bond with dogs in the first place, is that dogs were used not just to keep animals away, like keep wolves away from camps, but
Yeah.
to help people hunt.
Yeah, well, he was devastated when we were in Vietnam. They served us some starters, and afterwards we didn't know what they were, and he discovered he'd eaten his man's best friend. So that took him
Yeah.
about a year to...
It tasted funny. Like, it didn't taste right. It was...
But this
I can't
guy,
explain it.
This guy is like he retires from fighting, so the first thing he does is replace fighting with pictures of dogs. It's like we're running a business, you know what I mean? Like, put some
What, on
pictures
your
of yourself-
Instagram or something?
Yeah,
this
like
guy.
put some pictures of your tattoos up or something, you know, like not fucking dog. I actually did. I was like, look, Dylan, listen, you know, like, you know, you love Muay Thai, I get that, but you got to understand, people want to see a Thai boxer that's got a little bit of like Bokal about him, you know, and you know it's him
What
with
does
his
that mean?
bloody
What do you mean?
Bokal, you know, like
Bokal,
Bokal,
Paul
like,
Pramak,
I want
the
to see
fighter?
Dylan with his tattoo and looking six pack and stuff.
Right.
This guy's with his fucking slobbery dog runner. You know, like I'm like, okay, you're allowed one picture a week.
Yeah.
That's
On
it.
your Instagram.
The
No,
rest
no,
of Muay
one on
Thai.
face. He never
Oh, on
said that. He never
Facebook.
said any rules. So
And
it
I
was
said the rest of Muay Thai. I don't want
Yeah.
to see fucking Ralphie
For the
every-
business. Well, why don't you just do it on your personal account?
No, they're kind of the same thing. I
Yeah.
guess.
Oh, yeah, it's all interconnected.
he's got
Yeah.
his own Instagram, and it's sweet.
He's got his own Instagram.
And it's
the
all
dog.
dogs.
It's
Oh, the
all
dog
my
does?
The
big
dog
one.
does.
Trust me, man. Everyone
Jesus.
loves Ralphie.
Yeah, well, I love dogs too. I love animals, and that's something that people have a weird problem with. But they don't have a weird problem with loving animals and then feeding their animals. Like, I have friends who fucking are vegans and they have cats, and I'm like, do you fucking stand that cats only eat meat? It's not like a dog. A dog can eat carrots. A dog can eat grains. Dogs eat rice. Like, I have a friend who cooks for his dog, and
I've seen that happen.
he gets his dog ground beef and mixes it with potatoes and rice, and it's delicious. You do that for your dog?
Hell yeah.
Cool, it's
He
good.
doesn't eat probably himself.
But
Yeah.
but you can't do that with a cat. If you're going to do it with a cat, it has to be just animal protein. That's it. That's
Really?
the only thing a cat is allowed to eat. Yeah, you can't feed cats grains. Cats are not supposed to eat
didn't know that.
rice. They're not supposed to eat carrots. Cats eat fish, and they eat chicken, and they eat beef, and they eat liver, and they eat animal protein.
I didn't know that.
They're carnivores. They're
Yeah.
straight carnivores.
Yeah.
So for you to be a vegan and have a fucking cat living in your house, like you're involved in the killing of animals whether you like it or not. I mean, I guess there's probably some vegan cat food, but I can't imagine it. Let's
Would it
Google
kill
that
it?
right now.
They'd probably kill the cat.
It's probably not good. Vegan cat food bad. Let's look up that.
Cat's
Cat
one of Dylan's
food
phobias.
Yeah,
bad.
that's one of my 2 phobias, cats.
Okay, vegan cat food. Yeah, I just would imagine that shit is not good.
They're basically mini lions.
Oh, look at it. It says actually, and the vegan cat foods contained adequate amounts. Is it okay to raise a cat vegan? I think it's hilarious, by the way. I think that is fucking hilarious. Now, artist and activist with more than one feline in the family in Ithaca, New York, Moore and her partner, Shariah Golding. That means they're lesbians. What a surprise. Lesbian vegans with cats. That's crazy. You never hear about that. Relatively small but deeply dedicated group of vegan pet owners who believe their cats and dogs'
Vegan
diets
pet
should
owners.
reflect their own beliefs about the treatment of animals and the environmentally sustainable lifestyles. Is it okay to give your diet of spare me all the faux outrage? Be outraged at the billions of land animals and trillions of sea animals tortured and killed each year in the
How are
U.S.
they tortured?
alone for food to feed people and pets. I don't know, man. You know, you leave a cat outside, that cat's going to kill a bird. That sweet kitty cat that you have is a murderer.
Yeah.
My cat makes these crazy noises when he looks outside. He sees like something, like a squirrel. His little jaw starts going.
Man.
Their jaws start moving up and down like they can't help it. Like they're just thinking about biting.
Tell
Have you ever had fight dreams? Like where you wake up kicking, you know?
Yeah.
You know those dreams? Of
course.
Well, cats have those when they see a fucking animal that they want to kill. It's like that. They have reflex.
I hate cats.
They make
Yes.
noises. He just looks out the window.
Have you ever watched them like stalk?
Yeah.
Just stalk. You stalk your leg, and then watch a lion. There is very little difference. You know, like a lion crawling through the grass or a cat crawling through your carpet.
Yeah.
Like they look identical.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely identical.
They're murderers, bro. They are fucking murderers. Apparently, what they're saying is for a lot of these people that are making these diets for these dogs, there's like a big debate
The
on
vegan
whether or
one.
not it's healthy for the dogs.
You're talking about the vegan?
Yeah, vegan
diet.
diets for dogs and cats. Whether or not it's a matter of the animal getting all the proper nutrients or just being able to stay alive. So,
I don't really understand people's relationships with dogs in that sense. Like, I get the whole like man having a dog, but
Nah.
people get weird. Like we know a friend of a friend who told us they have a patient who's got Munchausen's. You know Munchausen's?
yeah.
You know Munchausen's.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically so they basically make up things so that they can get their dog operated on. Like it's just like as in problems, so that they have an excuse to get
Yeah.
an operation on the dog.
Right,
They're just
like
like
psycho-
it's like their kid.
Ugh, people
Totally
are fucking
People are
crazy.
fucking weird.
Apparently, what they're saying is that dogs and cats have a much different nutritional requirement than human beings, and that they need much higher protein intake than a human does. So, especially dogs can eat a bunch of other shit like yams and potatoes and all these different other things, and it's okay as long as they get sufficient amount of protein. But it's almost impossible to get the amount of protein that a dog needs with just plants.
Yeah.
And cats, it's just a fucking joke. Cats are, you know. Here's what you know: lay out some fucking meat and lay out a bowl of beans. See where Fluffy goes. Oh, Fluffy, no, you're not a murderer, Fluffy. The dog's just choking down these pieces of meat. You don't have the yams, Fluffy. It's fucking ridiculous. Vegan cat food, bitch. Shut the fuck up. That thing's a murderer, man. You're gonna keep it from being a murderer. It's its nature. I mean, you know, it's what it does. That's what a cat does.
It's kind of comic, like everybody who's been pushing all the like the tofu and all the soy stuff over the last couple of years, they're starting to get breast cancer, men. You know, like it's just we're discovering it's bad for you. I used to eat that stuff instead of milk, and I'd always feel sick, but I was like, it's got to be healthy for you. Everyone keeps telling me that.
That's why you got man boobs.
That's why I have moobs.
Boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, even vegancats.com is telling people to feed their cats meat. That's when shit gets real. when vegancats.com tells
you to,
people to feed their cats meat. After much soul searching, we've decided that we need to keep our cats alive and feed them meat. We only feed them asshole cows. Cows that stomp on rats or something. I don't know,
If a cat walks into a room, I'm gone.
Yeah, he hates cats. Man.
Hate cats.
Really? Why?
Terrified of them,
He hates
actually.
cats and hookers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
what it
hookers.
is.
And
strippers.
You hate strippers?
Man, in Thailand, he just if one touches him, he freaks out.
Is that because of your experiences in Thailand, or is it just like a thing in your DNA, perhaps from past lives?
Maybe.
Were you ever stomped to death by a hooker or a stripper?
Dude, actually, talk about that. If you ever go to Thailand,
All right.
no. If you ever go to Thailand, man, the most vicious things you see it in the hospitals. The chicks with the guy as they bottle. Like if you get in a fight with a guy, the hooker chicks will smash a
bottle you.
bottle on you. Like they're like known for it, and especially like Pattaya.
Yeah.
Like that area, the chicks. The first thing if a guy gets in an argument with another guy, they'll stand up for their man, and bottle the dude
Pretty
over his
tough.
shoulder.
Oh
They
God.
love bottling. I don't know what it is.
It's effective.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially if you're a woman and you don't have a lot of physical strength. You hit a guy with a bottle and open him up like a fucking tomato.
Hey,
Yeah.
Oy. Yeah. Bottles are scary shit.
Bottles are
When I
scary.
lived in Boston, I saw an argument over. I don't know what the argument was because I was a fair bit away. Like but these guys were arguing, and the guy's first move was to hit this guy in the face with a Heineken bottle.
Jesus.
It was horrible. It just cut him wide open. He's bleeding all over the place, and they tackled the guy who did it, and the bouncers beat the shit out of him. But I remember thinking, like, man, you got to be real fucking careful who you're fighting with, who you're arguing with.
Absolutely.
This guy just smashed this guy in the face and just cut him open. It's bleeding everywhere.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, but you know one thing I was going to say is it always shocks me when you see dudes in another country like Vietnam, Thailand, Brazil starting fights with the locals.
Ugh.
And you're
They're out
like,
of their
what are you
mind.
fucking thinking?
People are stupid as fuck,
Out of their
man.
minds.
I think it's probably just DNA, like wanting to get eradicated. Like you have some shitty genes, and your genes want you just to be taken out of the mix. You know,
It's like a
fuck,
suicide
you're
pill.
over there. Fuck Thailand. They're like, oh, really? Okay.
You have no idea.
And
Every
you're
night.
drunk.
Every night, something.
sure.
Man. They start a fight with a taxi driver, and the whole of Thailand jumps in.
Do you live in Thailand now, or do you go back and forth?
No, I've been going back and forth since I was 18. I'm 31, so
Wow.
a long time. And
You tried to live there.
I try to live there, but it's actually, I love Thai people. I love the country. I love everything about it. It's very ancient. There's no rush. It's beautiful. And the Thai people are amazing. Most of my friends there are Thai. But, after a while, I just got a little bit bored.
Mm-hmm.
I had my brother back in Sydney as well. He was running the gym.
He got to a stage where he was doing the rescue, and I think he got really attached to not just. And man, the thing I was saying, like we were talking about this before, me and him, like when you finish pro fighting, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
And I think like it was kind of like you're not, you're doing all this fighting and you're being admired and you're brave and everybody's
absolutely.
like Dylan. And afterwards you stop and you're just like, what now? So he's going over to Thailand and he's rescuing people and it's suddenly you're feeling important again, right? But he got really attached and actually at one stage wanted to go live there and we had a few arguments about it and eventually I just said I think you should go because I didn't want the gym and me to be holding him back.
Mm-hmm.
And he went there, and 2 months later, he's like, I'm ready to come home.
Yeah.
Did you ever think about competing in jiu-jitsu to maybe just spark your competitive desires and avoid like head trauma?
Well, look, I did. I competed a fair bit in jiu-jitsu, and I loved it, But, I don't know, like when I hit, when I was there, like for those 2-3 months last year, like Liam said, I got really addicted to the ambulance. It was an adrenaline rush. Like,
A lot of cops say that.
well, you hear the radio go off. I listen to the code. I'm thinking, okay, it's a car accident. We could be cutting people out of cars. We could be
Saving people.
one accident I went to, I was trying to actually put back 3 bodies back together over like, I don't know, quarter mile, 100 meters. It's less than a quarter mile. 100 meters trying to put everyone back together. And it was a crazy adrenaline rush.
Put them back together, meaning save their
Trying
lives.
to figure out whose arm and leg was whose.
Oh, Jesus.
So 2 bikes collided.
So dead people.
Yeah, lots and lots of bodies.
There's an adrenaline rush and trying to figure out dead puzzles.
The adrenaline rush wasn't that. I think I became like a little bit desensitized to everything. Like nothing bothered me.
Right.
I've seen everything. But it was more when the alarm went off in my little rescue bed. It's just a room half the size of this. And you hear the code, and all you hear is it's a car. There's an accident, but you don't know how many people. You don't know anything. So you get there, and it could be like 5 cars. One time we got there, I was driving, and they hated me driving. Like I was telling my brother in the car.
Why?
It was like a V8 turbocharged ambulance, this thing. And they said, I'm a mad driver. I drove Lamborghini yesterday up at Vegas. That was sick.
Oh, you went to one of those race car track places where you could rent one?
Yeah, man. Don't trust me, boy. So, I'd be driving, and then after a while, they started racing me to the driver's seat because I just lay next to the ambulance, and used to race me there. And I was like, man, why don't they? I said, why do you guys not like me driving anymore? He said, Dylan, when you drive, man, we're every religion. And it sat with me, and I'm thinking, what the hell are they talking about? And they go, man, we're Christian. We pray to Allah. We pray to Jesus, Jewish. They go, man, you're such a crazy driver that we pretty much pray to every god just in case.
Well, think about what the fuck you did. You went from motorcycle racing, too many concussions, I'll try kickboxing. You go to fucking Thai boxing, you become a world champion in Thai boxing, not enough thrill. I need to ride fucking bulls. Well, along the line, I can go rescue people. Let's do it. Hey, what an adrenaline rush. I'm putting together bodies.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one thing I thought was interesting about it, though, is, he became quite detached for a while.
You're eating candy the whole time you're here, too. What are you doing? You got a candy thing?
Nah, just soothing my throat.
Oh, your throat. Okay.
Yeah,
both of us got bloody Vegas. You can't escape the smoke.
Yeah,
in Australia, you can't smoke indoors.
Most of the time, you can't smoke indoors in America. Most places. Texas, a few places, I think, in Texas allow it. But Vegas is one of the few places left where you can smoke indoors. But they have so many. I don't usually have a problem with it because they have so many filters and
we got
air cleaning systems. Where'd you guys go?
Aria. Joe, in Australia now, I think you better look it up, but just in case.
Yeah, this is bro knowledge.
Bro knowledge goes deep on this show.
Yeah.
We've been promoting bro science for 4 years.
But I'm pretty sure that they're passed in the law that anyone born after the year 2000 can never buy cigarettes. It's illegal. So it's our first generation of non-smokers.
I like that and I don't like that at the same time because I don't like anybody telling me what I can and can't do.
Yeah, of course.
But I like it because kids are so goddamn easily tricked.
Well, we smoked. And
those chemicals that they put in cigarettes that make them more addictive. Did you ever see that movie Inside Job? Yes, Russell Crowe?
Yes.
He's your boy, right? Russell Crowe? He's from there.
He's from near us.
Australia?
Yeah.
It's a great fucking movie, man, it's a true story based on a real chemist who was developing specific compounds designed to keep people addicted, and he details the mechanism involved in these addiction processes, and it's like, wow, how the fuck did the government let this shit get in there?
I had a lot of trouble quitting smoking. I was smoking while I was fighting. And I got to a point where I was like, I'd get sick a lot because you're smoking and fighting. I was only 20.
You were smoking and fighting at the same time. Well, isn't Sakuraba famous for that?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about smoking, man, I wish I never started. But I started when I was about 13 and I thought it was cool as an idiot. And by the time I was 21 and I was still smoking, I couldn't quit. I'm not dipping.
You got dip? Oh,
no. He knows I hate it.
Can't get it straight out.
Man, I couldn't quit. And, I got to the stage where I was like, I have to either quit martial arts or quit smoking. And I couldn't quit smoking because I was getting sick a lot from my lungs and my sinuses. So I'd go train and then I'd have a cigarette.
Wow.
Man, it was so addictive, man. It was really a scary thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What kind did you smoke?
Just normal cigarettes.
Did you ever try those American spirits? They have some cigarettes that are all natural. They don't have any additives.
We smoke. Look, I mean, we started as teenagers as stupid idiots, and everyone that's what you did socially when you'd meet up and smoke. But I was actually one of the last ones smoking, and I felt really down on myself, really weak about the fact I couldn't quit. I quit when I was 22, which was 11 years ago. But I haven't. But I actually got to a stage where I was that addicted to it that I almost quit training because my health couldn't put up with physical exercise and smoking.
I'm not surprised, man. That stuff will fuck you up.
I absolutely agree.
I'm not surprised. Everyone that I know that had a cigarette addiction and then quit still longs for those goddamn things.
I don't. Once I quit,
Yeah, my friend Jeff, to this day, I mean, he's quit for more than a decade. He's like, to this day, every now and then I'll see someone smoking and it just looks so good. I just want one.
I just want to punch them in the face. When I was in the casino, And
Yeah, it
we're
was
sitting there, and the
gross,
guys,
man.
there's kids right next to a guy blowing smoke on them, and I'm thinking, like,
Dickheads.
why don't you just hit him with your
Yeah.
car? You know, like,
Yeah,
not good.
I have a real problem with that. People that just don't give a fuck about that. That's a weird thing about the cigarettes too, is that it affects the people around you,
That's right.
and they don't give
absolutely,
a fuck.
absolutely.
But it's also the thing that they throw them on the ground.
yeah,
Like cigarette people are so likely to litter. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Like they don't have any problem with it. It's like almost
No.
on average, more people that smoke cigarettes litter with those cigarettes than anything. I had a guy over my fucking house that was working on my house, and he's sitting out in my backyard. He smokes, and then he throws a cigarette on the ground. I go, "What the fuck are you doing?" I go, "You really littering in my fucking backyard while you're working for me, dickhead?"
Tradies, huh?
Just a douchebag, man.
yeah.
But I couldn't believe it. He did it right in front of me. I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing, man?" I live here. You're just going to throw shit on the ground and step on it? Oh, you stepped on it. It's good now.
Yeah, it's gone.
Someone tried to tell me, oh, they're biodegradable. Yeah, in a fucking 100
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
In 100 years, it'll go back into the earth, you fucking nitwit.
And your daughter's at the beach. She's like, "Hey, Daddy, look at this. Look what I
Yeah.
found. It's
It's not
either a condom or a cigarette." you know?
Biodegradable, you fucking dildos.
It just ruins a good beach
Yeah,
as well.
biodegradable. What is it? What are you talking about? It's a foam fucking plastic filter at the end of a shitty piece of paper. Yeah, eventually the earth will absorb it. So you know what else is biodegradable? Your fucking car.
Yeah.
Okay, leave your car for 1,000 years. It won't exist.
Have you ever picked up? I hate when people put them in bottles and picked up a beer bottle you thought was yours, and you're just like,
Oh, that's the nastiest shit
one
of
the
all
nastiest
time.
things that's ever happened.
Beer and cigarette ashes.
It's
How about they
terrible.
throw them out the window too? That's half the fires in California are from shitheads
Australia as well.
throwing fucking cigarettes out there, and they do it all the time.
What
You
about-
drive on the highway every day, you will see some shithead
Flick it at you while
throw
you're
a
driving.
cigarette out the window. They're not flicking it at you. They don't think they're doing anything wrong. I feel like they're doing something so bad to their own body that they don't give a fuck.
I agree.
They don't give a fuck about poisoning their own bodies. They don't give a fuck about poisoning the earth itself.
The worst thing is seeing the
Gotta
young
pee?
girls smoking.
We're gonna wrap this thing
Yeah,
up
yeah.
anyway.
I was
We're
gonna say
at
our
the end
attention
of
span's not really
yeah.
lasting.
We're at 6 o'clock already.
Really?
It's been a lot of fun, dude. We
Yeah,
did
it
a
has been
3-hour
fun, man.
podcast.
Unfortunately, you got 2 sick Resnekovs today, but
No worries.
Hopefully
It was
we were
great. It was fun.
energetic enough.
No, it was fun. It was really. I'm glad we did this.
Yeah, cool, man.
So,
That's
your gym. Give people the how do they get a hold of you? What's the website?
yeah, it's okay. So our gym's www.vt1.
You don't have to say www anymore. It's 2014.
So true. What about HTTP?
I don't think you need even that anymore.
I always got the slashes backwards, but what's the name? Okay, no, we're at VT1 Academy, vt1mma.com.au. That's in Sydney.
VT1MMA.com. There you
That's
go.
us.
There's the website.
That's on the left. Just
it's
one quick
Richie.
thing. Do you know that a lot of French girls in Canada are called Lawrence?
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Last
on
name or
Tinder.
first?
That's the
Only because I was on Tinder there that we found out.
Wait a minute. Their first name or their last name?
Lawrence first.
Now, if you cycle back, that big Chinese guy on the left there, when I say Lawrence, I think of a big Chinese guy with a guillotine that kills you, right?
Lawrence.
But on Tinder, all the girls were Lawrence.
That's so weird.
Really weird.
Tinder in the house.
Sorry, on a random note.
Get your
And,
freak on.
So that's us down there. Come visit us. We're really friendly, everything. And our other site is peak-at-u.com.
Huh?
Our other site is peak,
Peak?
P-E-E-K.
P-E-E-K.
Yep. Dash dash u.com. So Y-O-U.
What is that?
That's the project, the Growing Down site that we're working on. We're going to put all like the stuff, like the Thailand stuff on, and we've got the psychologist who's doing the podcast on and stuff. So that's our kind of site. We're just going to host everything because that's our business site, obviously.
Okay, so Jamie,
that's-
did you find that?
Yeah.
What is it again?
It's peak,
Peak. P-E-E-K.
Yep.
Dash.
dash u at at-you.com. And that's oh, it's not up there. I'm just pointing at Joe. This is awkward.
Hey, man.
Okay, and
Oh,
you.
right.
There
That's
we go.
that's
Peak
the
at
Growing
you.
Down site.
Okay.
And that's going to have all the Thailand. That's just going to have all our projects.
What is
on it.
growing down?
Growing Down's a project we launched because we were sick of basically if
Growing
you're,
up? Sick of growing up? So you
Well,
decided to grow
we're
down?
sick of being at the dinner table and everyone comes up to you and says, "So, what you doing with yourself lately? Are you working hard?" That's our South African accent,
Right.
You know. So my friend's a psychologist and he just started getting pissed off, and so he coined this whole growing down thing, which is about stop listening to other people and start fucking listening to yourself, basically. And
Beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
So
a great
the
idea.
project.
Because, by the way, not only will other people give you shitty advice, they will give you shitty advice because they got shitty advice and they want you to continue the tradition of suffering.
Yeah.
People love watching people fail and struggle because they failed and struggled. It's very rare that someone will tell you, listen to me, I failed. My life is a fucking disaster. Don't do what I did. They don't say, why don't you fucking grow up?
I've never heard anyone say that.
I've had many people tell me to grow up. I've had many people that were fucking miserable telling me that I needed to grow up. I'm like, I don't get it. I'm happy. You're not. And I need to grow up. This is baffling. Do you know you're going to die? We're both going to die. Isn't the whole point to enjoy this as much as possible? I feel like I'm enjoying it. And I feel like you're not. So I'm super confused as to why you're giving me advice.
One quick thing just before we wrap up, I just wanted to share because it just was something interesting that came up when we were backstage at the UFC, right? And this is about growing down. And we're back there. Our fighters prepared pretty well for the fight, right? And you go there and everybody's telling you what to do. Don't eat bread, don't eat this, switch a potato to a sweet potato. And everyone means well, right? Cut weight this way, cut weight that way, prepare this way. Guys were holding pads hard as they could the night before the fight. Now we taper a week before,
right?
And we're there, and our fighter starts getting nervous, you know, and he starts copying a little bit because these are professionals, right? Like we're professionals too, but we study, you know, we know what we're doing. But he starts switching to sweet potato. He cuts out bread. He starts training a little bit closer to the fight than he should be. And the thing was like everybody was telling everybody what to do, and he ended up dropping 5 pounds by mistake because he changed everything that week. And I was thinking about for comedy, for fighting and all that stuff, is like it's really fucking hard to just trust that. Look, I've eaten potatoes and red meat my whole life. Let's just keep doing it till the fight, you know? And so that's what the whole growing down thing was about.
But it seems like if those guys are given that advice on how to lose weight, that seems like good advice.
Well,
it seems like the weight that he lost.
That's what he meant.
No,
well, it's probably because he probably should be lighter in the first place.
And look,
it's a healthier diet.
Well, the advice is right, but the
timing is wrong.
That's what
right,
I mean. So like you're about to go up on stage and some guy comes up and he goes, man, before I go on stage, I usually go do a quick shot of like tequila up my nose.
Wow.
You know, that works for me. And then you go and do it, you go on stage and everyone thinks
yeah,
you know what I'm
nose
saying?
is sniffling, you're bleeding.
So it's just, you know, for all the Aussies coming up, is just having confidence what you're doing is good, write notes and do it after the fight. And that was just something we learned backstage, you know.
It's definitely a good point about tapering off, man. That's
You know
one
what I
thing
mean?
that people make a huge mistake about. They train too hard. They think it's good to train hard the day before the fight, but training breaks the body down. The whole purpose of training is to break the body down. If you don't understand that, then you need to talk to someone who's an exercise physiologist and understand what is the purpose of working out. Working out taxes the body so the body heals. Yeah. Healing is what makes you stronger. The breaking down of the body forces your body to react to the fact that you're making it do all this work. So it goes, okay, we're lifting weights now. We got to get stronger because this motherfucker wants us carrying heavy things all the time. Okay, this guy wants us running up hills. Boy, we better increase our VO2 max because we want to stay alive. Obviously, the body has different requirements now. We need more oxygen. But to break it down the week of is really not beneficial.
Some guys do it, though, and they get away with it. So our guy looks at them and he goes, fuck, this is a pro. I better do it. You know,
yeah.
So.
Well, there's a lot of schools of thought. I mean, it's just like hard training. You know, there's a lot of schools of thought when it comes to hard sparring. Yeah. And then there's, you know, even pros, like guys like Martin Campman who say you should spar once a week at most.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's very good. Very good. Smart and very technical. But, you know, a lot of guys didn't do it that way, and they have suffered because of it. There's a lot of damage that gets done that's unnecessary, whether it's in training, whether it's, you know, in preparation, strength and conditioning, whatever it is. There's a lot of unnecessary damage. And what we were talking about before about MMA training, I think it's still in a learning period. I think we still haven't got it down the way, like, say, football has it down. Yeah. They know exactly how to train to develop, like, top-flight football players.
Absolutely.
Basketball, same thing. You go to a basketball camp, you're dealing with top-flight strength and conditioning coach. They really know how to deal with. I mean, you're dealing with multi-million-dollar athletes, and they have that investment, and they want to keep it healthy. And really, no one should apply that more than MMA fighters, because who the fuck gets hurt more than MMA fighters?
Muay Thai probably is the worst taught sport in the world, especially in Thailand, because there's no history of teaching.
Yeah.
So it's like
all fighters teaching fighters.
Well, they just copy by osmosis. They learn.
Really?
Pretty much.
So it's like that's one of the most backward sports in the world. Never mind MMA.
And isn't a lot of smoking and drinking as well?
Man, it's
getting better now.
Like, remember
Thailand,
getting better?
like they've got a lot of you know, fight against alcohol, fight against drugs. So there's a lot of promotion now. You've got a lot of guys like Yots and Clive Fairtex and Malapet, he's actually American, you know, and Borkow. These guys are heroes. So for people, there's a lot more push towards, you know, be healthy, get fit. You can make good money now. You can go to Japan. You can fight in America.
Can do dives.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I have friends that trained and fought in Thailand, and they were telling me about everybody smoking cigarettes. And my friend Chris started smoking when he was in Thailand because he was fighting. He's fighting in Thailand. Everybody was training and smoking, and he started smoking too, just like to be one of the gang. Now he smokes cigarettes.
You know, Champwa Kiatsungrit? You know,
I've heard the name.
He's the one who, like, Tong Po sort of based on him. You remember?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
He broke Rick Rufus' leg. You've seen the fight, I'm sure. You know the one where he boots him and he breaks his leg. The fight.
I didn't see that fight.
It's on YouTube. It's worth watching. But we saw him, and he's a legend. He fought Andy Hoog. He fought all these guys, right? And we go to Thailand in Pattaya, and he's just sitting there smoking. So if I buy him a box of cigarettes, he'll let me film him kicking the bag.
yeah,
So
10
I'd just bring a
kicks.
box of cigarettes, and he'd kick the bag for me.
Yeah.
Show me
Wow.
the technique. You know, and like they're just smoking, and alcohol over there is out of control.
Wow.
It is.
Last question before we go. I'm a big fan of kickboxing, obviously, and kickboxing is starting to make its way into the United States in a big way with Glory, this thing
yes.
that's on Spike. My only problem with it is I don't like tournaments. I don't like the idea of making someone fight twice in a night, and I definitely don't like them doing it with like high-level kickboxing. Like Nathan Corbett fought Gokhan Saki.
That's right.
Gokhan Saki knocked him out in the first round. He broke his eardrum.
That's
they
right.
stopped the fight, and then he had to go into the final round. Gokhan Saki did against Tyrone Spong, where Tyrone Spong fought 3 hard rounds. This young Brazilian kid. And then fought in the round and broke his
That's
leg.
right.
Yeah.
I don't think the shin break came from the fact that he had to fight 3 rounds and Gokhan had to fight 1. But the idea that one guy could fight 1 round and then the other guy could go 3 rounds and go to war,
Yeah.
and then they meet in the finals, I think that's fucking crazy. And I think
Yeah.
in this day and age, in 2014, with what we know about concussed fighters,
Exactly.
head injuries, and then
Absolutely.
taking a break and cooling down in between that fight and having an hour in between the first fight and the second, I think it's fucking crazy.
But also the removal of clinch makes it fucking dangerous.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
elbows.
No
Corbett would've
elbows,
won.
no
Clinch
clinch.
is awesome,
Corbett would have
man.
won that fight, I think, with elbows.
Well, he's a real Muay Thai specialist.
Yeah.
I mean, he is an elbow guy. And they took
Amazing
away
fighter.
one of his best weapons.
That's right.
Well,
The clinch and the elbows, two of his best weapons.
The thing about-
Americans, and we can us, sorry,
Yeah.
you go.
The thing about Glory, though, for us, is that it's getting us on a bigger scale
Yes,
for Muay Thai,
absolutely.
which is good. Like, in that way, it's good. I understand the tournament, like your perspective on the tournaments. I kind of agree in a way. But to get striking with, competing against the UFC is so hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Money-wise.
it's hard.
Well, I think that, first of all, they're on Spike, which is a huge company.
Isn't
You
it?
know,
Yeah.
Spike is Viacom. They're
We don't
owned
get-
by
we don't get
huge billion-dollar, backing behind them. There's a shitload of money involved in Spike and Viacom. But I think that the tournament format is dangerous.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it's antiquated. It's dangerous. I loved it
It's
back when it was
amazing
on
to watch.
K1. It's amazing to watch.
About pride.
But I think for the athletes,
Jesus.
when you're dealing with world-class athletes like a
Yes.
Tyrone Spong, like a Gokhan Saki, I just think it's unfair, and I think it's the wrong way. I almost feel like it's disrespectful
Yes.
to the sport itself.
And the fighters.
To force world-class fighters to fight more than once in a night, I think is outrageous.
But the thing I was going to say just quickly about that is one of the bigger problems I think with Glory is it's also going to reduce Muay Thai in America is basically kickboxing with knees and elbows, right? The clinch in Thailand is like 30-40% of Thai boxing. Not in America, not in Holland, right? So you're seeing all these guys coming into MMA. Not only is it going to increase head damage because there's no clinching, but also the skill sets that come from the clinch, they don't exist in MMA yet, you know?
Yes.
And like, it's
Well, you see it a little bit with Anderson Silva. You see it with a few Muay Thai guys. They know how to
It's-
clinch and
this sounds really
ragdoll
stupid
people.
because you got a bad neck, but I was saying like if you get to clinch with like a Thai like not I'm trying to say it modestly, like real clinch, like Thai clinch, it's almost like doing flowing Greco. There's body locks, back takes,
Yes.
snap downs.
Well, do you like
throws,
Lion
foot
Fight?
sweeps.
Do you ever watch Lion Fight?
What's that?
Lion Fight's an organization in Vegas, and they're putting in Malapet fights for them.
Right.
Yeah, they
Malapet's
have
good.
a lot of really high-level people that are coming over from Europe and fighting for them. They got really good fights they're putting on.
Right.
That was Cyborg, Christine the
Oh, I saw
Cyborg.
that.
She
Yeah.
lost to this girl from...
People are hard on her. Fucking hell.
She had 2 fucking Muay Thai fights.
Yeah.
They're hard on her because she took male hormones. That's the bottom line. I mean,
She's
they're
such a
just
nice lady,
The
too.
reality. I'm sure she's a nice lady, but the reality is she took male hormones. And
But you're saying they include clinch and
yes,
elbows there. Oh,
clinches and elbows.
great.
Yeah, I
Good.
mean they have it's Kevin Ross fights for them. They
Yeah,
have
he's cool,
Yes,
Kevin Ross. Good fighter.
and elbows, clinch, everything,
Absolutely.
takedowns. They trip each other, they drop each other.
beautiful.
Yes, it is beautiful, and it's the comprehensive full style of Muay Thai,
Absolutely.
and it's safer, it's better,
Safer.
and it's also more lethal. It's more effective.
Absolutely.
Elbows, kicks, knees, everything.
Watch the prelim card with our guy who fought. Not to even look, he's got a long way to go. He's only his first fight, right? But he used Muay Thai in the clinch, and like people were saying, what did he do there? And it was like that's like first day stuff in Thailand.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think Americans are robbing themselves a bit by doing glory, not Muay Thai. You know what I mean?
I couldn't agree more. I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more. And I think that we're on the same page as far as the respect for the athletes, making
Yeah.
them fight more than once a night against world-class guys
not fair, yeah.
on an uneven playing field. Like you could have fought, like you could fight a world-class guy and get rocked a bunch of times in 3 rounds and be really fucked up in that dressing room when you're preparing for the title. And the other guy lands a head kick 15 seconds into the fight and you're both fighting in the finals
Yeah.
against
Yeah.
each other. I think that's crazy.
I absolutely agree.
And they're going to have a big tournament in LA and I'm going to be there.
We're
But-
gonna watch it every time.
I'm
anyway,
gonna watch it every time too. I'm a big supporter of it. I just think that they should reconsider. I
Yeah,
just think,
sure.
and I wish they would go Muay Thai style. Just
agree.
fucking bring in the elbows, bring the
Exactly.
clinch. Watch some of those lion fights. They're doing
They're
it.
good?
It's great.
I'll watch it.
They have them on Access TV.
Yeah, right.
Gentlemen,
Thank
it's
you
been a
very much,
pleasure.
sir.
A successful, fun podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, follow them on Twitter. It's VT1_MMA_Sydney. And the website one more time.
Oh, VT1MMA.com.au.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks also to our sponsors. Thanks to NatureBox. Enjoy some delicious, healthy, nutritious snacks. NatureBox.com/Rogan. That's NatureBox.com/Rogan. Go there, use that, and you will get 50% off of your first box. Thanks also to Onnit.com. Go to ONNIT. Use the code word Rogan and save 10% off any and all supplements. Thanks also to Stamps.com. Go to Stamps.com. Use the code word JRE and save yourself some money, son. We'll be back tomorrow with Andreas Antonopoulos, who will drop some fucking mad knowledge about Bitcoin. Both Ace Frehley and Dave Attell had to reschedule, so there will be no podcast on Wednesday. Dave Attell will be back on Tuesday the 29th. Next Monday, I have Steve Maxwell on, and then Thursday, Greg Fitzsimmons. And then next Friday, I'll be at the Lobero Theater in Santa Barbara with Joey Coco Diaz. All right. We love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. Much love. Big kiss. Mwah.